If you've ever been super excited for your football team because of Hard Knocks, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, folks. We are back for another episode of live trading. It is hump day. We have money to be made. Stock market looks like it's cooperating today. Giddy up.
Welcome to Benzinga Live Trading.
Let's see if this actually kind of comes back.
Way out of control, got way too high.
All right. Hey, I will take that. I will absolutely take that.
Good morning and welcome back to another episode of live trading. Can't wait to get the day started with you. As step one, we're going to go ahead and bring on 13. 13, how are you doing, dude?
Oh, I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm doing really good. Really excited. Like I was saying in the opener there, Hard Knocks is awesome. I can't wait for football. But before that happens, we have to figure out what's going on here with this market. So let's just go ahead and get started here. Let's go ahead and start with the SPY. Then we'll do some movers. And then we'll do some charts that you folks want to take a look at here. So here's your SPY. One of the things that we saw yesterday was a straight up rejection at the 100-day moving average, and we really kind of came back in. Today, this morning, we're actually higher. We actually traded higher overnight in the after-hour session and then took a little bit of a leg higher here this morning as well. So it looks like we have this 100-day test on deck again. You can see we're coming out of a pretty awesome volume shelf in here. So not surprised at all to see this type of move. However, I would be surprised to see us clear the trend line that I have here, which would also mean we clear the 50-day moving average. And I'd be shocked, I say, if we went to new highs here this year. So that's kind of where I sit here, 13. What do you see for levels here on the SPY?
Well, we blew through some levels I had yesterday and ended up filling that gap to the upside that was created on Monday. Now we're kind of hanging out up there after we came back in later in the day. For me, I really can't make a good guess on where it's going to go. I can just give you some levels to the upside and downside, and we'll probably hit both with this crazy market. For now, we're right beneath the gap fill area, which I had at 528.60. So we'll see if, which is right where that 100-day is. So we'll see if we get some resistance from that. 530 is definitely on deck. We almost touched that yesterday. If we continue to move up, then we're just going to start, seeing some of these previous all-time levels get tested, which is going to be 531.56, 533.07, stuff like that. If we start to sell off at the open, then we're going to be testing levels we've been talking about for several days now. We have 524.61 to the downside. We have 527 before that, and we have 521 beneath the previous all-time high of 524.61. So there's some levels that we can hit both the upside and downside. I really can't give a great answer on where this is going to end up. It seems as though we're getting a lift today because of the news out of Asia with the Bank of Japan, them not really looking to cut rates in light of this market volatility. So I guess there's an expectation that other central banks are going to follow suit. It's going to be a choppy summer. The rest of the summer is going to be choppy. August will be choppy. So we could go up, we could go down. It doesn't matter where we end up. It's just going to be a wild ride. So hang on to your seats.
Yeah, I think that you're exactly right. We talked about this being kind of choppy, but also volatile to and through the election. I think that's exactly what we're going to see here. So really good stuff there on the SPY. We'll see where we go. We've got plenty of time here on this, so we'll see where we end up. Let's go ahead and take care of some of the movers, and then I want to take some charts from the chat. Don't worry, folks. All of you folks that want to take a look at Lumen, we're going to do that here in the mover section. So the first one here is going to be GTHX. This is a no trade here. G1 therapeutic shares are trading higher. If the company announces it will be acquired, or what is that? Pharma Cosmos Group in an all-cash transaction valued at $405 million. That's why your stock is your leading gapper here today. But there's no trade. So that's why that's up. Let's get to something that we can trade here today. Next one is going to be Lumen. Let me see if I can actually get that shading back on here real quick. Oh, come on now. Come on now. There we go. There we go. All right. Lumen, this is probably going to be the big mover here of the day. So this actually gave great trades yesterday. Kudos to all of you that traded this early It was probably the best move. But even in the afternoon, thing really just kind of drifted up. And then 13, when we were on happy hours, thing absolutely just ripping here. And this morning, which is rare for some of these smaller movers that we talk about, Lumen was actually covered on CNBC. So how about that? So definitely making some waves here. Now, what's going on? Lumen Technology shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 revenue results. Goldman Sachs upgraded the stock from sell to neutral and raised its price target from 1 to 4. So pretty good there. We got a ratings rechange. We went 300% higher on the price target. So that's great. But the price target is only 4 now. Current price here at Lumen, 718. So that into your trading calculus today. I still think after a huge couple of days in a move like this is nothing more than a trading vehicle, just to be absolutely clear.
Yeah, when it comes to this, we mentioned yesterday about how the float is really large. And one of the things we saw is that when it's not regular session, this thing can move around a lot easier because that float really isn't going to be as impactful. So, and you have a high short interest on this as well. So you're going to get that effect as well. We may not see that same price action in the regular session. You might just end up seeing it, in pre-market and in after hours, like we've been seeing where it's been making the bigger moves. Not to say that it couldn't, do some of the things it was doing yesterday later on in the day, but just bear in mind that float is a lot of supply to move around, and we may not get the same price action that you're seeing in pre-market and in after hours. Just keep that in mind.
Okay, Jeff Kazaka, appreciate you, Jeff, saying Lumen CEO is going to be appearing on CNBC. Jay Rice says Lumen and other fiber. Lumen is fiber, ASTS is satellite. Both got huge investments. Indeed, that's what we're seeing here. Alex going to play the contrarian. Lumen going to drop midday. So this is why we do this, right? This is why we cover these things. We expect these stocks to move in both directions throughout the course of the day. Whatever trade that you want to take, just make sure you set up for it, Alex. We will absolutely be checking on this. We're going to have people trading this I can feel it right now. We're going to have people trading this all day here today. So whether it's short or long, get ready. It's going to be some action here today in Lumen. Okay. Let me see if I can go back here real quick. Okay. Next here is going to be ZCMD. You ready for the Zhongchao China pump here? 13. Here we go. This thing ripped up yesterday in the after hours. I actually tested the range here in the pre-market on both ends. Now it looks like we've broken. We're going lower here. So it'll be interesting to see if this actually just kind of dies off or if this does anything here today. Let me take a look at the news here again. A lot of times we don't have, nothing here on this one here today. So really just looks like a pump action here today. I would stay away from this personally. But whatever you folks think, this is what's going on here. Don't really see any catalyst.
Yeah, this is a Cayman Islands-based provider of healthcare information, education, and training services. Things that don't really sound in favor when it comes to trading and investing right now. This does have a 1.54 million share float. They did a reverse split 1-for-10 on February 29th. Don't really think that has any material impact today. But this low float, obscure company is just moving on, no news. So definitely a China pump. Yeah, that's all I really can say about that. If you do feel like trading this, just make sure what you understand your risk is. This could go right down to nothing. So in and out.
Be careful. Have a plan. Shaka here says, "Damn, the stream started without me." Indeed, boss. It's going to keep doing that. We work on Lombardi time around here. If you're not 15 minutes early, you are late. However, glad you could make it here today. The real action hasn't started yet, so it's debatable whether you even missed anything or not. Welcome. Good morning, Shaka. Okay, next here is going to be UPST. This is Upstart Holdings. This is, of course, moving on earnings. Upstart Holdings shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results and issued Q3 revenue guidance above estimates. Top, bottom line beat, guide higher, Upstart higher. What do you think here?
Oh, I think we're squeezing. This has a 32.14% short interest with just 4.88 days to cover. So just slightly less days to cover than we'd like to see. Still, it's going to take some time to unwind, and that's a high amount of float shorted. This has a 72.3 million share float, and that I didn't really cover this one too much, but I did see this was moving. So just want to at least point out that the float shorted was really, really high. I think that's one of the leading causes of this rally here. Of course, the other one being that it had good earnings, got a price target raise to $33, $31, and they issued guidance above estimates. So a lot of positive things going for it, and the high short interest, that's really helping move this up.
Okay, really good stuff there. Love this comment. This has got all types of juice on it. Got to get here early so you can hear a Bears fan talk about Packer greats. Couple of things here. First of all, it's a really crispy comment. I like how you're able to kind of slide that in there without using profanity or just outwardly saying a whole bunch of dumb stuff. Really, really crafty comment here that I can appreciate. But it's worth noting that my co-host here is a Packer fan. So every day you actually get to see a Bear and Packer fan coexist without wanting to wring each other's necks. And you're going to see that through football season as well. So don't even worry about that. And then as an aside, Lombardi is a American great, the way that I look at it. So although he did work for the Packers, please remember he also worked for the Washington Redskins at the time. And he is an American great, so I will keep quoting him.
Yeah, we can get along at least until kickoff.
Yes, exactly. I don't text him during kickoff, and we don't trade during kickoff. Okay, enough digression here. I'm sorry about that. A couple more things to cover off the movers before we get to some of the charts that you want. I know we only have 16 minutes till the market opens up here. Thank God that coffee is working here today. Shop is going to be the next one. I know pre-market prep, Dennis, Joel, and AB covered this one earlier. Really good job by those guys. Shopify shares are trading higher for the company reported better than expected Q2 EPS results. Thing really looks like 64 is going to be one of the levels that it needs to take out. The longer term thing that I'm kind of looking at here on Shopify is, why didn't it freeze there? Is this, right? If we can really kind of get above this trend line that we've been, or this downtrend that we've been in since February of this year, maybe things can start to turn around. If we do, we'll look at some upside targets at that point here. But that's what's going on with Shopify. 13, did you have anything on this?
I didn't quite cover it, but I'll just say this about retail or e-commerce companies. I think that it's going to get the market will get reminded at some point today that the consumer is weakening, and that could turn this trade around. So just keep that in mind. These are great earnings. It could continue to break through that trend line that you're talking about. Maybe even get up to the 200-day SMA. That certainly looks like a big resistance area. But these other companies that we've been covering, watching Amazon turn down. We've been watching some of these restaurants turn down. Consumers weakening. And I think it's going to get reminded throughout at some point today that people trading Shopify up, we're going to take profits and be like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Really good stuff here on Shop. Look, I'm watching this trend line for maybe a trend line break, but you make a really good point about a weakening consumer, and we've seen a lot of warnings out of some of the stocks, namely Airbnb. I know this is not on the upside gappers list, but while we're talking about it, we might as well take a look at this because this is actually a humongous gap down. Airbnb, in addition to reporting earnings, actually warned about consumer slowdown in their report, down 13.7% here today. Although Airbnb is at a support level, this is not something that I'm looking to buy. If you guys are going to dead cat bounce trade this, I totally get it. That'd be fine. But again, this is not something here that I even want to touch. So this is just kind of the opposite of Spotify. I know that one's trading up here. Airbnb is really getting killed, but just a couple of things to mention here. I got to say, go ahead.
There's a couple of good comments and questions in here that we about Shop that we want to get back to that after you've been talking.
Yeah, we can. We can. I did want to highlight some more of the really crispy comments here, though. I absolutely love this. Chris, good to see you again. Long time no see. Skull Vikings. We got the entire NFC North division represented in our show, coming in heavy. All right. Nice. We got Robert, who's also a Packer fan, so he's going to be here for you. Looks like Amanda is probably a Lions fan based on living in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. It's gorgeous up there, by the way. So we're going to have a lot of fun this year. I can feel it. Okay, let's get back to the market. I'm sorry, guys. I'm really, really excited. It was super fun. So here's Shop. What did you need?
Well, our Alpha was mentioning that Shop turned around hard on its last major pop on news and Bagholder Central now too. So, that's kind of one of the things that to watch for when it comes to the weakening consumer, that this big move could end up turning around. But I think a really great question here from Christopher Anthony Forsman. Wouldn't you think Shop is a great discount alternative in an economic downturn? Am I wrong? I don't think you are, but I think it's too early for that. We're just getting started into this downturn. But I think at some point, if we do see Shopify continue to go lower, that it is going to be a great discount and a great pickup. But feel like we're a little bit too early on that. So, I guess a little bit more patience, but I don't think you're wrong.
And can someone explain to me how you use Shopify to save money? Because I mean, the whole shop cash thing is really, really confusing, and you really only seem to get a couple of bucks off when it's all said and done. The prices here are not matching inexpensive Amazon or Walmart prices on comparable things. The only thing I really use Shopify for is that some of the companies that I order goods from do their tracking through Shopify. So somehow I'm building up this cash, but I never really use it. I'm not disputing what you're saying. I'm literally asking because I don't use the product enough. And if there's some way to kind of leverage this, I'd like to at least try it so I could be a little bit more experienced when we're looking at some of these pops. But that's neither here nor there. Vintage tool restoration. Who day? We got a Saints fan in here too. This is gross. No. Okay, man. I'm doing the best I can to guess. You'll have to let me know what it is. No insult intended there. Okay, really quickly on the movers list, Aditxt. This is Aditxt. We've traded this one before. This one actually has like an upside area of 123 to 125 that I'd like to see broke if this is going to go higher. This one might be on deck here today for a potential trade. We'll see. We did have some news here. Submits a proposal for Clinical Trial Translational Endpoints Research Award, that is a mouthful, to the Congressionally Directed Medical Research Program of the Department of Defense. This seems like a whole big word salad here, so I would say maybe go through here.
A word that stands out is proposal. This is a proposal. Yeah. It's moving on a proposal, folks. And
they're talking about ovarian cancer, which is a serious thing, so I mean, maybe that gets some traction here, but this is a proposal. Really good stuff there. Keep this one in mind. We've seen some of these trading vehicles move, but that's what's going on there. Next one here that I wanted to cover is news. The only reason I'm bringing this up is because we've recently seen this move. This ticker NUZE. I think weren't we trading this when it was like in a 6 handle when it was moving before. Anyway, here it is, cut in half already. It is gearing a little bit. We'll see, but I'd be careful.
New chairman of the board and co-CEO for Newsy. That's the news this morning.
Okay.
Here.
Okay.
And they also expand sales and distribution channels. I think that's the news that's moving on. Might be moving on that new chairman of the board, co-CEO, but I think the expansion of the sales and distribution channels is the bigger news there.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the chart tool. That wraps up the movers. We got 9 minutes here. What stocks do you folks want to take a look at? I think we can actually, if you want to continue the discussion on Shop, I don't know if there's much more on Shop to talk about. Mashu asking about Mara. So the question here, not a question we normally take because we're not into predicting the future. I can bust out the 8 ball if you want me to give that a pass here. Do you think Mara gets back into the 20s soon? Well, first of all, here, the chart tells me that could absolutely happen. We bounced off the 500-day. It looks like we're about to recapture the 200-day, which I have at 1883. And if we did that, I do see a move up to 20 as possible. But the reality is that this is going to be largely dependent on Bitcoin, right? So Tell me what Bitcoin's going to do, and I'll tell you when Mara is going to do what it's going to do. But I am not in the business of predicting Bitcoin, especially since I am a hodler more than an actual trader. The news on GTHX, Christopher, is a takeout. So no trade there, probably.
Yeah, it's right close to it's a 17.15 all cash buyout offer. So I don't really think there's much there.
NVIDIA, CART 10. Okay, you guys, there are a ton of them. CART, Maple Bear, right? This is going to be Instacart here. Thank you for bringing this one up. RX, appreciate this. This is not a stock that I have watched at all really since the IPO, and now we're actually getting a pretty nice bounce off the 200-day. Now, with that being said, this actually dipped beneath and then kind of recaptured the 200-day. Love seeing stuff like that. Maple Bear shares are trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q2 financial results and issued Q3 adjusted EBITDA guidance above estimates. Really good newsprint there. But this also fits into what we were just discussing a second ago regarding a weakening consumer and how, I know that these delivery services, whether it's Instacart, Uber Eats, DoorDash, they're really, really popular. I occasionally use them myself, but I always feel terrible after I do it because I feel like I wasted money. if we have a tightening consumer, are we really going to see expansion of this service, or are people actually going to try and save money by doing some of the shopping themselves? You tell me, folks. 13, you got any?
Also a short squeeze, 28.24% the float shorted with 5.24 days to cover. That's a candidate.
Okay. Yeah. Shaka, I'm not going to repeat your comment just because of the profanities there, but I agree with the overall sentiment. I think this goes lower if the consumer struggles at all. I really do. So there you go. NVIDIA was another one. Jay Wild, good morning. Pretty awesome stuff that you got rolling on there. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, good morning. It's great to see you. We will get to ADTX here in a sec. I did really quickly want to mention NVIDIA and PLTR. Here is NVIDIA. We did recapture the 100-day on NVIDIA. This, to me, is going to be the bellwether for technology. We often look at the Qs. The very next thing I think of is NVIDIA or Apple. If we keep going here, if this is a positive day for tech, I can see this probably maybe 110, 111, the 20 days at 115.73. I really don't think we get there today. And inevitably, I think we probably move lower. I think NVIDIA can really be at, especially if this Blackwell stuff really starts to get worse. I think this could really get hit here. So and just keep in mind where we're at here on NVIDIA. You got anything on NVIDIA?
I would not be buying this dip.
Me either, but just asking. Okay, PLTR was another one. Boy, we are rolling through the stocks here today. Thank you, coffee. PLTR, let's see where we're at right here. $27 after that up move, or after that recent up move, excuse me. Looks like we're knocking on the door here of the 20-day moving average. Let's see if Palantir can really kind of get higher here or go higher here. This sure does look like a pretty nice channel, does it not? Right, we've really kind of got like this. Maybe I'll adjust this a little bit, but this looks like a pretty sweet channel we've got going on here on Palantir. So we broke out of it. We went to the 200-day. We immediately came back into it. Do we go higher here? Do we take out that 20-day moving average and maybe move towards the highs? I know we've got a lot of people that like and dislike Palantir. Personally, for me, I'm waiting for some weakness on this to add this to a long-term portfolio, but this is what we got going on Palantir here.
Yeah, it's been struggling to get over its 20-day SMA. It's also a resistance spot at 2750, so that would be an important level to get over. I'm not going to make any predictions on this, but I can say that the 20-day SMA, ever since it broke down beneath it, has been a major resistance area. Whenever the price tries to trade above it. So I'll be watching for that to see if it does finally close above it. We're looking for closes above the 20-day SMA at this point.
Yeah. Yes, we are. Okay. Let me stay along Palantir. Okay. So a lot of stuff going on there. Let's talk. Chris, you wanted to take a look at ticker SPG, Simon Property Group. This is not one that I follow. I don't have any thoughts on this, so I'm sorry. I don't have anything ready for you here. Second largest real estate investment trust in the United States. Its portfolio includes interest in 230 properties. So REITs, especially dividend-paying REITs, pretty good. This one a little bit lower on the yield than some of the other ones that I'm looking at here, but chart looks pretty good. Definitely like things that pay a dividend in the environment that we're in. This chart actually looks like it's trying to break out and go higher, doesn't it? It does to my eye here. Maybe 172 next resistance level. If this does end up breaking 159, currently at 155 here. It's about all. I'll keep looking at this. I'll look into this a little bit more and see if I can give you anything else. Do you have anything here on Simon Property Group? Largest shopping mall owner in the country.
Yeah, I think that's a concern for me. Is that
too.
I would want to, before even getting in this, I would want to do a bit more research and see if they are still getting businesses in retail spaces. I want to see like how, what their occupancy is like. That would be the big thing for me, is what their occupancy is, because the idea of rates coming down, we already know that's going to be great, and that's going to be helpful for a stock like this, especially when it's paying a 5.3% dividend. This is going to be, a real attractive value play at some point soon. But I'd be a little concerned about what their occupancy is like. So that's where I would be looking with this particular stock. Pretty good movement though.
Okay. Sorry, I'll take care of that here in a sec. Ask Melvin about SPG. I bet he's not a huge fan. I bet that you're right about that, Amanda. And you know what? I'm going to add this to my list here today. SPG.
Great suggestion.
Yeah, that is. I think I was going to probably end up doing that. Anyway, excuse me. They own a lot of malls. I was at a Simon's Mall this weekend and a lot of empty spots. Yeah. I'll say this. I'll say this. The entire like mall thesis, I don't like it. I think to myself about going to malls and I'm like, just kind of like cringe and shiver a little bit. I actually drove by a really, really nice mall in my area that looked like a damn ghost town.
People.
It worries me a lot. Yeah. I mean, look, when you get old and introverted, people are the last thing that you want to see. They're the worst for all my Seinfeld fans out there. Okay. What else? How much time do we have? Oh, we got less than a minute. I don't want to get too involved in something. Let's flip over. Let me finish. I got a message I got to send here real quick too. So,
okay. I know that some folks were asking about some of these Mag 7 stocks, like Amazon was going up, and Google was getting hammered a little bit. I know that Google didn't fare well with that. I guess they're up a little bit this morning, but Google had gone down previously because they lost the antitrust suit, and that's was hammering them. I think yesterday. Yeah, we're about to open. Another 10 seconds here. ASML looking nice. Big red volume bar for Apple. All right, folks, here we go. We're open.
We are open. Boy, I got tons of messages. Okay, let me get set up here. As a reminder, the stream is sponsored by Trade the Pool. So if you need help or you need a prop firm, Trade the Pool can help you. They're really good guys and friends of the stream as well. Okay, a couple of things going on here. IDAI. This is a very, very small AI play that we've talked about a lot on Happy Hour. This got news here today and is popping. So congrats to anyone that had that. Fortunately, I don't have that one. Rich Tech Robotics. This is also popping here. This is a penny stock. This got absolutely dismantled yesterday. Absolutely dismantled.
INDO
and it is bouncing back here today. Which one?
INDO had a pop. That was set up pretty nice. This is an old one we've traded before. It got up to 347. I just noticed it was popping at the gate here.
Anyone else hear Snoop Dogg lyrics when you read the Indo ticker? Because that happens to me every time I pull it up. Every time I pull it up.
You just hang out there with your gin and juice then.
Hey, my guy. Lumen here up. First move out of the gate here is up. ADTX. Jay, I know that you were asking about this one earlier. Ripping to those highs. Watch if this takes out that 150 high that it's already put in. That would be something.
Lumen not getting going, but Serve, that one has a nice pop out of the gate as well. Pre-market high is about 17. Oh, there you are.
There I am. I'm all over this. I'm just getting the trade pool up here. Here is Serve. Boop. Looks like we're rolling right out of the open here. All right, how do we feel on the market? What are we trading here? I asked 13 before we came on. I wasn't really sure which direction we were going to go to. I didn't really have a good inkling. And I'm kind of thinking, what are we trading here today? What are we looking for?
Whatever's moving.
Whatever is moving. Robert, ASML. You've been all over this one for a while here. This one, very, very light volume, but a good 3 days in a row here. Nice recapture of the 200-day, Robert. Really, really like that.
Bitcoin trying to push up to the 57. Well, it looks like it's trying to go for 58,000 now. 57,750 was the high in what was this, earlier this morning? So it looks like it's trying to get up to 58,000. So those Bitcoin names, Mara, CLSK, right? All those, keep an eye on. They might be printing right now.
Chris saying he might go long Microsoft. What's the thesis here on Microsoft that you like? Actually, it would be pretty cool if it could actually take this pre-market high out. Again, another recapture there of the 200-day. Those 200-day recaptures have been pretty good. My big fear here, though, is that there's some type of bull trap that people are getting in, which is one of the reasons why I want to kind of keep this shorter term on the trades. JP Morgan's first move here out of the open. This actually gapped a little bit, now moving up out of the open as well. The Goldman Sachs chart looks exactly the same. Come on, load up. You're killing me, Smalls.
That Zhongchao China pump stock down out of the gate here, trying to find some support. Probably will get it. They might get it around here, but we'll see.
There we go.
Right. 10
10K. Tank is a halt. TENK. Man, I got all tight. You know what? I don't know what's going on with my data feed here for Trade the Pool, but I'm actually just going to go back to Pro for a little bit because that data feed seems to be a little bit more stable. Here's Upstart continuing to move out of the open. ZCMD, that's that Zhongchao pump. We're bouncing here. Think we get back to the VWAP or not?
Oh, it's entirely possible. I mean, for me, we're already slightly above it.
Yeah. Looking around here, what's going on? I don't really see anything yet on the Twitter streets. How's SMCI doing?
Well, I haven't looked at it, but I just really feel like this is a buyer beware kind of morning.
I have the same feeling here. C, looking like you're taking Riot long there. Lumen, horrendous. Horrendous, huh? Let me bring that up here real fast. I actually thought that would be on a scanner here real quick. I don't really see it though. Lumen calls going off. Yeah, Lumen big pull off that move. Wow, that was over $1.50. That pull from high to low. 13, you were just talking about potential bull traps here. Looks like even on the smaller stock here, nice little nice big knife. I guess not nice little anything. C, you're looking at taking Riot. Oops. I typed in his YouTube handle, not the ticker. That's not going to work.
You know it, Webcoin. That's looking good.
The gin and juice stock is smoking on Indo. How are we doing with this?
Yeah, I opened.
The breakthrough 330, guys. Great. Took it off my screen. That's my own fault.
You didn't cover this one, but I had it on my list.
Love this comment. Love this comment. We'll highlight this every day if I have to. Don't get sucked into the first 5-minute pumps. With you there. Panagenesis? I'm not sure what your handle's supposed to be there, but this is a crispy tip. That Indo, that'd have been fun to trade though, wouldn't it have been? Lumen actually, does this bounce? No. Yeah, it looks like this is trying to come back.
ASTS also, no pun intended, taking off.
I see what you did there.
Palantir up at just slightly over the 2750 level. So it's currently above the 20-day SMA. We'll have to see if it holds. But yeah, ASTS, this thing is, we were talking about this even yesterday. This thing is just probably going to continue doing this until that launch. That'd be my guess.
ASTS, $20 ripping here. I tell you what, that runner from when was that? The middle of May. Oh man, that is the swing of the year right there. Probably, I guess that or maybe Nvidia.
It's a really interesting story.
Yeah, VFC short squeeze. Jay. Here, let's see if we can go. Let's see if Trade the Pool is going to cooperate here. VFC, this is popping here out of the gate. So you're saying this is a short squeeze, huh?
It's got a 16.46% float shorted, 8.45 days to cover. They just had earnings yesterday, after hours. Beats, raise. I don't think they raised guidance. They reiterated it. Mentioned free cash flow. So there's some things here that are pushing it. There's a price target raised to 19. They have a dividend coming.
That'll help. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're just kind of, trying to attract all kinds of money. The float is large though, 304 million shares.
Let's take a look here at SMCI. More lows. Cannot catch a bid. How about Airbnb? Chris, I saw you were mentioning that couldn't catch a bid. Yikes. I think both of these probably return and test some of the lows. Airbnb low print here, 108 and change. Wouldn't be surprised if that happens again. Jay, you said earlier you're looking to take profit here on Fortinet. Nice after that pop. I'll pass on the cybersecurity names. We've talked about that kind of a lot, but really good job here on Fortinet on that earnings play. We'll give you a register ring for that, no doubt. I'd sell into this pop too. I think that's really smart.
Yeah, I think so too. And it might even still be an attractive, trade after it comes back in and kind of takes some pressure off this high RSI, which is almost at 75. The thing is that the daily chart is showing that the 50 is getting close to crossing the 200. That'll be a golden cross. That'll imply more upside. So if this pulls back, let's say down underneath 16, that might be a good area to pick it up to go long and trade it again. Not advice or anything, but that's just what I'm seeing at the moment. But it looks like once this cools off, there might be another chance to trade this up again.
10x getting mentioned here by Jay Wild. That's poppy here today, but really kind of spreading out. I would much rather see gigantic volume on this name, especially after being stopped out of this name yesterday. For my only red trade of the day yesterday was that stop out, thankfully. SMCI here continuing to go 524. I got to ask the group, who took Anne Marie's SMCI call? Because that thing paid 600%. So who took Anne Marie's free trade for SMCI? She's just absolutely crushing it. Gave out another one yesterday in our nighttime webinar. Really, really good stuff here. So that is pretty nice. Can't take credit for that one, but we can definitely bank together. That's for sure. Maybe that's why I'm so excited. AAOI setup, says Smoke Tuna. All right. So it looks like we're kind of consolidating here. You want this to maybe break higher. VWAP, maybe they're stopped there at 820. AAOI. JPM, by the way, continuing its move higher here. Chris, I think you brought that one up out of the gate, didn't you? Smoke Tuna also mentioning Cook. That is ripping. Wow. Cook ripping. Ashvin, my guy.
Nice.
The trifecta of sounds right there. Shorted some SMCI at 700. Oh, you were almost 200 points up on that trade. Let's go. Let's go. The nighttime webinar, Austin, it was just a webinar for Benzinga Pro. It's designed to drive trials to pro and show people the pro ecosystem. It's not like this. It's a different setting than this, so I wouldn't worry about that. It's also a different setting than the happy hour. So if you're in those two, you're probably in good shape. The webinar actually is trying to get people into those shows. Aditxt is pushing, says Crow. That was the Jay Wild call earlier today. Jay, I hope you're banking, bro. That is right here up at the highs. Now through those pre-market highs as we go a little bit higher here. Aditxt. Ashvin says, I lost a lot of money in the past on SMCI. Well, buddy, I hope you got it back yesterday, because if you're 200 points in the money on that short, you're probably doing just fine, dude. Probably doing just fine. Congrats on that trade. Aditxt, big pull here after that. We've seen this a lot on some of these. I just want to reiterate that when we have any of these breaks, especially to the upside, quite all right to take gains on that. We saw a couple of those pull and actually go negative the last several days. And because we were able to trade those early on, we were able to get out of there with profit. So good stuff there. Hopefully you took gains on that high of day break. Excuse me. This got absolutely destroyed yesterday. This was up here in the pre-market. Watch for a potential VWAP reclaim here. This is a penny stock though, so be careful. How's IDAI doing? Oh boy, that gave it all back, huh? Nothing.
It was, this could turn around or even lead up into earnings, but we'll see. There's a gentleman on the happy hour who mentioned this a while back, that it could have a wild move like this.
Yeah.
So I know he took advantage of that this morning.
Okay. Well, you guys are. Aditxt is known for knives. Indeed, Tuna. Indeed.
Wow, look at that volatility.
The volatility. Look at this swing account. Jazzed. So my best performing position right now is an oldie, but I suppose today it's a goodie. It is this ideal power that I've been in for a couple of years now. Moving here out of the gate, I didn't see any news, but this is really what's driving things higher here. Don't think there's any setup on this, and I wouldn't chase these candles either. I'd wait for this to kind of come in pretty thin, pretty low float. Let me see if there was any news here today. There was.
Christopher Anthony mentioning SPY pulling back a little. I just noticed we got a rejection here at 530. So we're seeing a little bit of that. So maybe we reverse here at 530, but it hasn't traded down enough. It could still go higher. We'll have to wait and see what shakes out.
All right. So our news really quickly. Our news desk team here. I didn't watch this in the pre-market, so I don't want to speak to it with certainty. But our news desk team here actually did an exclusive on iPower. I didn't even see this until just now. They did an exclusive here this morning, and we actually had this news 15 minutes ahead of that PR. iPower up 12.3% on the back of that. Just goes to show you here. Being first can really kind of give you an advantage. By the way, the other stock that Tuna was just calling a second ago, Cook, taking another leg higher here. That actually consolidated for a couple of minutes and is now breaking higher. Thinking about it, Nick has moved on. We mentioned that a couple of times. He does sometimes jump in here, though.
Yep.
And we miss him. James, good morning. Incredible timing. James, you know probably better than most in here how great our news desk team is in getting news out here. So appreciate that. Appreciate you mentioning to hit the like. You know what? In honor of James, let's go ahead and chart Rivian. I know Rivian had earnings here and was down, but it is actually having a pretty good session here from the open. So Rivian trading back up here, just crossed over that 14 handle. Really what I'd like to see on Rivian is that the reclaim of that 200-day. We can get above that 200-day and stay there. I think that bodes pretty well for Rivian. Let me show you on a bigger chart what I'm looking at. It's hard to see on the chart that I have. So this is what I'd be looking at for a trade. If you're already in this and you have something, do whatever your plan is. But if you're looking for a new trade here on Rivian and we do get this cross of this 200-day, maybe a close or two above that, I don't think 18 or 20 is out of the question here on a move. Yeah, iPower, Robert, this is a really good point. I don't think I mentioned that. Huge spread. Again, not a stock that you chase, right? I have spent time buying this on days where it has been getting pummeled. Literally had to hold my nose and buy. I've had to put orders out there and wait for them to get filled. Do not chase this. You will almost certainly immediately lose money and then blame me if you chase it. So just don't do that. Just don't do that. Okay, what else do we want to take a look at? Meta. Ashan, it's okay. You only have to ask once, man. We don't get to every stock here. It's all right. It's all right. You're going to be just fine. Meta here moving with the rest of the market. This is obviously up. Nice little 3% gain here for Meta. This is, again, not a stock that I would buy. If you were trading this near a pullback towards that 200-day, I'd be trimming here, frankly. I think that this is going to really encounter some resistance. I don't expect tech to really kind of go higher and keep setting new highs here, especially if the consumer continues to weaken.
Yeah.
Thank you, personality that impersonates me. I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah, there's a bit of a trend line that Meta has to break, and it's looking like 520, which I already had marked off here. It's going to be.
Is this it?
Level. Yeah.
Yep, that's it. Cool.
So, first we're going to need to see these closes above the 50-day SMA. This will be the first one today since we had that drop last week. So we'll see if it does that. That's going to be the first thing I want to see is a close above the 50-day SMA and eventually that breakout of that trend line. That's what I'd be looking for.
Does anyone have any active trades on right now or setups? I'm not seeing any, so I'm kind of just covering stocks that the chat is throwing here. Mm-hmm. But if you guys have something, we can go back to it. I haven't seen anything appealing yet. Maybe Rivian again. That actually.
It looks like
the highs. Sorry,
it looks like 10x wants to try and move higher. It's got a bit of a formation that implies that it's going to try and break up out of 430. Got a wall here at 420 at about 5,000 shares, so we'll see if it can get above that. The volume is just completely evaporated in this one, so I don't know that it's going to get up there, but the formation looks good, and it's above BWAP.
Okay. Well, hey, at least you found something. I asked and you
I'm not trading it. I'm not trading it, but it's interesting. It looks like it might make a move, but that's not liking the way the volume's looking at the moment, so.
Smoked tuna might be nibbling at the lows here on IDAI. Let us know here. Jay, regarding Meta, which we were just talking about here. I brought up PayPal because someone asked about that. Meta for Tuesday's 8 a.m. guest favorite. It's been 35 points since then. Don't you sell after a 35-point move? Best Mag 7 earnings. Do you think this keeps going? I got to think that we kind of come back in a little bit, especially on tech. As far as PayPal goes, by the way, that inverse head and shoulders, do you consider this working, 13? Because it kind of came back in and validated the shoulder.
Let me take a look at that, because I was just looking at Meta and seeing if Zuckerberg was selling more, and he is, because it is above 500. Actually, he took a new position as well, but that was on the 5th.
Whoever asked about PayPal, I can't find your chat in here, but whoever asked about this does look like this is kind of holding its bottom. It's really kind of bottomed out now, and we might actually trade back up here. Watch for a move towards that 500 day. But again, same deal here with tech. I mean, I think like PayPal has so many other arms though. I don't own this, so I haven't put my money where my mouth is, but I do think that the bottom here is in. I think that. Let me go back to the trading platform, see if we can actually trade. I haven't even traded anything yet today. This is ridiculous. Where are we at with Lumen? Right at the VWAP or those lower wicks?
For PayPal, I think getting a close over 64 is going to be important for continued upside. I have the 64 as a level I drew a while back. I think it was back in February. And it's kind of been trading just up and down, and, above and below that. And it seems like every time it trades above it, it doesn't hang out there for too long. So I really can't say. I think it's just going to continue going sideways until we actually get some kind of big news that the buy now, pay later, buy now, pay later products aren't working out anymore.
Real quick here, James saying PayPal's new ad revenue should help. I'm actually not even certain on what the terms are of that. Maybe, although ad revenue really seems to be like that entire like business model just seems shady to me.
Remember that JP Morgan is no longer allowing
they're not going to allow you to buy now, pay later with their credit cards.
Right. Sorry, I couldn't get that out, but yes,
it's okay. I'm here to back you up, boss. It's all good.
So
we got a Bears fan backing up a Packers fan. Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria.
We watched a movie.
Yeah, Wednesdays are fun. Speaking of Wednesdays, it is Wednesday, so you know what that means. That means Tim Melvin's going to be joining us here pretty soon. So
Purgatory Park, Dennis is right.
Ready.
Buy now, pay never. I don't think anybody that uses that has any intention, unless they actually care about their credit, they don't have any intention of paying that back. And I think that's kind of what all this debt that the U.S. government's accumulating is kind of leading people to think, well, hey, if we're not going to ever pay back our debt, why should I? Besides,
that's
Uncle Sam will just bail me out.
The government does it. Yeah. The government does it. With student loans, who cares? We'll make somebody else pay for it. Real quick, Sava here. I know that this is a battleground stock. This actually is a setup. This can take out the VWAP, especially on volume. Maybe we go higher here. One thing to keep in mind here on Sava, this has got an Alzheimer's treatment, and there is a ton of internet drama. You are either a fan and this thing's going to save a whole bunch of lives, or this thing is a complete fraud and you're going to lose everything. Those are the two sides on the internet literally battling with each other. So just keep that in mind if you're going to trade this and look for other information and stuff.
We've had a lot of conversations about this one.
What's that?
We've had a lot of conversations about Sava.
Yeah. The underrated quote from Ghostbusters here. Ray, the next time somebody asks you if you're a god, you say yes. Oh, man, so many good quotes. We might have to throw Ghostbusters on tonight. We'll see. Okay, enough of me getting really excited here. We are about to be at 10 o'clock, so we're actually going to get Mr. Melvin on a little early. Let's bring him on. Tim, happy Wednesday, dude. How are you doing?
Happy Wednesday, guys. We're just living the dream down here. Southwest Florida, the rain has finally kind of cleared out of here from our little tropical storm adventure last week. The granddaughters have actually all finally gone home, so there's like peace upon the lands.
Okay. I'll take peace upon the land too. Tim, just going to give you a little bit of warning here. I am jacked off some coffee, so I'm going to be moving a little bit quick here today. Just
Okay.
setting the stage for it. Okay. So I want to ask you what you got, but we did have someone earlier ask about a real estate investment trust. We figured we'd ask you. Do you have any thoughts here? Ticker SPG, Simon Property Group. Like, dislike, anything?
Love. Yeah, let me just get this up here on the screen because Simon Property Group is malls, okay? Now, as everybody knows, and it's just a proven fact, shopping malls cause cancer. And if you own shopping malls, body parts fall off, your wife leaves you, your dog runs away. It's terrible. You should never own these things. Yeah, except
I've never heard that before, Tim. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it's ever since the Amazon has changed the shopping mall, right? We all know that. And Class B and C, lower grade malls, smaller towns outside of the cities, they're dead, right? I mean, and this is, I'm not being funny here at all. They're dead. They're being repurposed. They're being plowed under. That aspect of the mall business is gone. But the Class A malls in wealthy areas with high populations, and they've got Apple stores, and they've got Amazon delivery points, and they've got all the upper end and the luxury stuff, and it's kind of internet proof. And that's what Simon owns. And they own some of the best shopping mall facilities in the country. Their occupancy rates are fantastic. Their credit rating is a solid BBB. Yeah, full disclosure, I own the debt and we'll happily buy more if we get weakness in this. So we own the debt. We like the common. The dividend is safe. Any weakness and pullback in something like Simon, this is one of those blue chip REITs that you just count on people being stupid and giving you opportunities to buy a whole bunch of it over time. Because this is the kind of stock, it's like realty income. You could retire off this stock if you just keep buying it every time the market's down big.
Okay.
No, there's my thought on a REIT.
Yeah, I was going to say that was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Christopher, let me know if that's what you were looking for there. Great stuff. We're starting off here with a bang, Tim. Okay. Again, I know that we don't focus on day-to-day here stuff or day-to-day change here with your strategy. So what do you have? What are you seeing recently that's really kind of catching your eye?
Well, I mean, how's it hard? It's kind of hard not to. I'm a bank guy, and banks got clobbered last week because, as we all know, the world ended last Thursday. And then it came along and it confirmed on Friday with the jobs report, which was horrific. It was terrible. It spelled the end of the world. And I loved it because I'm fond of the internet instant experts, and they always pop up, right? Right now, prior to last Friday, they all had nuclear engineering degrees. Before that, they were banking experts. They, understood in-depths and layers of how commercial real estate was going to collapse and end Western civilization.
FYI, Tim, they just got their PhD in the yen carry trade. I don't know if you've seen that, but that's what's going on.
Absolutely. They are all now foreign exchange experts, and they just know everything about it and what's happened and what it means and the 97 layers of how that trade works. And so on Friday, they all became experts on the SOM rule. Okay. Now, these people, I promise you, 100% could not pick Claudia Sahm out of a lineup if it was just her and Paul Krugman. Okay. Right. I mean, they don't know who she is, why she's famous, how the rule works, or what it means. They just know that it's an infallible recession indicator. And in truth, the SOM indicator is a pretty good tool. Right, you get a 0.5% increase in the 3-month moving average of unemployment. That generally means the economy is getting ready to go into the pooper. Okay, that's a technical term, guys. Be careful using that one. Claudia herself has said, "Wait a minute, there's some global distortions and things going on. So while the economy is weakening, this does not signal a recession." Now, that jobs report, we saw unemployment go up to 4.3%. Job creation was low, and everybody seized on that rise in unemployment. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The rise in unemployment did not have one iota of anything to do with job cuts. In fact, if you look at the Challenger Gray report, job cuts were down 47% in July when compared to June. They're, kind of running flatline. Job cuts are only down about 4.4% this year. There's been no mass layoffs outside of technology. And technology had nothing to do with the economy being bad. It had to do with protecting profit margins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's immigration, folks, and people coming back to legal immigration. Leave the politics out of this. Legal immigration has gone up. The workforce has gotten bigger, while job creation has slowed a little bit. And part of that has to do with government agencies pulling back. Okay. So this is, the economy. There's plenty of signs of weakness in the economy. Talked about it all year over at Benzinga Yield. You're seeing some things slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. However, I just flew up to Maine back earlier this month. I think I mentioned that to you guys. Took the wife on this nice trip. The planes were full. We connected through Baltimore. All 4 flights were completely full, and I mean completely full. The airports were jammed. Restaurants were full. Hotels were full in Maine and in Boston. People are traveling. They're spending. There's absolutely some have or have not aspects to the economy.
Yeah, no question.
Okay? But that upper, say, 50, 60% of the economy, they're working. They have money. They have excess cash flow. They're spending. Okay? So, and by the way, they're spending on services, not stuff, because you see sales of stuff, retail consumer sales, pretty much flat. But eating out, airplanes, travel, they're spending on that kind of stuff. All right. So it's slowing down, but it's not terrible. When you look at the financial markets, which is what we do, when you look at leverage loans and high yield debt, you're not seeing an uptick in default rates. You're not even seeing an uptick in distress yet. So everybody overreacted on Thursday and Friday, and we saw the big sell-off on Monday where, everybody got massively positioned short. So naturally, we bounced back on Tuesday. But because, of course, the economy is going to collapse and everything's going to be terrible and awful, bank stocks got slaughtered. And
So let me. We're talking about the consumer there. I don't know. Maybe you haven't looked at it. Did you make anything of Airbnb's earnings report yesterday, warning about a slowing consumer?
Slower consumer for Airbnb. Somebody forgot to tell the hotels. I think you're seeing some changes in consumer preferences, and I think that some of the controversy around the cleaning fees and some of the other things with Airbnb, they became a second choice.
Okay.
So, and look, there's a lot of cities and states putting regulations in that are kind of choking them a little bit.
Okay.
So we're not saying there's not signs of the economy slowing down, because if you look at the leading economic indicators and you look at the lack of optimism among small business owners and consumer sentiment numbers, clearly there's signs of slowing.
Okay.
But it's not a recession. We're not there. We do not need an emergency 50 basis point rate cut, nor are we going to get one. And as I've said, told everybody for months now, when you finally get a rate cut, you're going to realize that you did not want a rate cut, because that means the economy really is struggling. So, September might be on the table, but it's not a definitive. And if anything happens in the Middle East, the rate cut's going to come off the table in a heartbeat, because oil will go skyrocketing. But when you look now at the banking sector, which I'm going to be honest, banking and real estate, I've just made so much money in these sectors because nobody understands them. You look at the last week, we've got all these stocks now selling at low price to earnings ratios of larger banks like Columbia Banking System out west. They're now one of the largest banks on the West Coast.
What's the ticker?
COLB. They did a transformative merger with Umpqua at a port, Oregon last year. Most of the branches are still branded under Umpqua, but this is great credit, no real problems. Stock got absolutely hammered, coming from almost 27 down to under 24. Well, it got as low as 22 last week, and now it's bounced up a little bit. But when you look at Columbia now, we've got a 6% dividend yield, easily covered by earnings. You're trading at 10 times earnings. Post-merger, the bank's going to grow. They've got great banking franchises. They're not the dominant player on the West Coast, but they ain't far off it either. They're strong in the Seattle and Portland markets, which are very robust banking markets. it just, you've got a little bit of insider buying earlier this year. Just everything that you want to see in a bank is present in Columbia banking system. That's a little larger than I usually buy. And then quickly moving up the ranks to become one of my favorite small banks. It's not even really that small. We talked about the preferreds on here. Valley National Corp, VLY. 5.5% dividend, 11 times earnings, big earnings increase expected this year. Everybody, look, these guys are in New Jersey, okay? And they do a lot of business in New Jersey and New York. So you get the paint of being involved in New York City multifamily and New York City office, and they are. But they don't own the office tower loans, right? They have the 4-story office building loans and the garage loans and the gas station loans and the restaurant building loans. They own that commercial real estate loans. That's their market, not the office towers of downtown. They own they're financing Class A high-grade apartments with high occupancy rates. So these guys don't actually have a loan problem at all. Their credit portfolio is pristine. They get painted with commercial real estate, New York City multifamily. They've got like this 3 or 4% of their apartment book is rent control, but they get hit like their New York Community Bank. So you got a 5.5% dividend yield. The preferreds are VLYPO and VLYPP. Love those. High yields, variable rates, and fixed to variable on the VLYPP. This bank's not going anywhere. Okay. They're not financing the problem areas of New York. They are financing parts of the economy in New York and New Jersey that are doing very well. But again, you saw the stock, got really hit down to about 7.25 last week. It's bounced back up to 8. But guys, this thing's still trading at a really healthy discount to book value, a low price to earnings multiple. It's growing. Credit conditions are fine. It's baby with the bathwater. You should not be throwing this bank out.
Okay. Okay. Awesome. Do you have any more for it?
Yeah. I'm gonna give you one more.
Let's do it.
This is another bank. Look, TFS Financial, TFSL. Okay. Now this is Third Federal of Cleveland. All the numbers on this are wrong. You look at it and go, oh my God, this thing's trading at 45 times earnings and 2.25 times book, except it's not. This was a thrift conversion some years ago, and they've steadily bought back stock over the years to the point where the mutual holding company now owns 80% of the stock, right? So that stock has no voting privileges. It doesn't figure into anything. But because of the weird accounting of mutual holding companies, it counts. It should be treasury stock because that's how it functions. It's not. It's treated as issued because the mutual holding company owns it. The only thing they can ever do with that stock is do an IPO and sell it, do a second stage conversion. So the PE in reality on shareholders' equity is about 8. The price to book value is trading about 40% of minority shareholder equity value. So this thing's super cheap. They pay out the cash flow as dividends. Okay. Now, full disclosure, I own a lot of the stock. I have loans with them. I have accounts with them. Me and this bank, we go back a ways. So, but it's 8.75% dividend yield. All right?
I was just going to say, I think of today's picks, this one has the highest yield from what I was just checking out there.
By far. And this will not ever be the most exciting stock that you own. It's just not. Until one day, the board's going to get up and they're going to say, man, I'm kind of tired of being in the banking business. Let's go ahead and do a second step conversion with an eye towards selling the bank. I don't know when it's going to happen. It'll happen someday. Maybe some days tomorrow. Maybe and probably not tomorrow, by the way. Maybe it's 5 years from now. Maybe it's 10 years from now. That price, they'll convert within 5 years, they'll sell the bank. You would probably make 6 to 7 times your money on this stock through that process. Until then, just sit here and collect your 8%.
Yeah, that actually sounds like a great play here. I'm actually going to add 2 of these here today to my portfolio.
That 15 level on TFSL is really interesting. That's big breakout level.
It is. And, every time it pulls back, it's a buy. and nobody understands the adjustments that you have to make for the mutual holding regulations. Nobody understands what that means or how to treat it or how to think about it. They look at it and go, holy good, a bank at 45 times earnings, I'm out. That's an NVIDIA time.
Yeah.
And this is a bunch of old guys in Cleveland that only make single family loans. Okay. So there's like this mad safety factor in this. They only do single family home loans. They're in Ohio, and they followed their aging customers down here to Florida. That's I've got a branch right down the street. And for years we had a relationship with the bank. I had no idea that there was actually a Third Federal here until I was backing out of one of our favorite restaurants one night, looked in the rearview camera, and there's the big Third Federal sign. Been here for years, and I just never even noticed. So they've got a presence in Florida, but they do single family homes primarily, and they do a little bit of home equity loans, and the loan book is just about as clean as you can see. There's almost no non-performing loans in this thing.
Okay. So real quickly here, I want to address this comment because this is a good one, and we hear this about dividends all the time. Samita is saying, yes, but dividends can be reduced by the company at any time, and the stock can keep going down. Yield is not guaranteed. I check cash flow. So Smita, while that's true, one of the things that Tim is doing here with some of these that he's picking is he's researching and using his existing knowledge to find stocks that aren't going to have their dividend cut or has it at a much lower percent of that dividend being cut. That's the whole point of some of these tickers that we're looking at. Is that fair, Tim?
That is fair, and you need to understand that, yes, dividends can be cut. However, if you look at the reported earnings, and banks are a whole different duck, so you got to make a whole bunch of different adjustments to figure out what the actual cash flow in and out is. Mm-hmm. Bank accounting, I'm not going to say it's complicated, but it's different, so you need to know it. But I don't recommend a bank and say, oh, it's paying a 6% dividend if there's even a ghost and where's chance that dividend's going to get cut.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing to keep in mind, most of our banks have very high levels of insider ownership. So rather than cut the dividend, they probably prefer to take a ball peen hammer and break their own toes, right?
That sounds awful.
Right. Well, I mean, if you own 5% of the bank that you're managing, so does cutting the dividend. I mean, that's all awful, right? And personally, I can get over a broken toe, but if you take my money away, it might, that might take even longer. So we do look at, and we are concerned about payout ratios. And generally speaking, I'm a buyer of dividend cuts most of the time because statistically, it's like betting the chalk in a horse race and getting a bonus payout. But we avoid in the bank stocks. We avoid potential dividend cuts like the plague. It's not something we want to see. We're not interested in. And without bragging too much, I've been doing this for 30 years in the banks. Well, more than that, but I don't want to admit that I'm old. We're pretty good at it is all I'll say. And the dividends from all three stocks that I mentioned today are more than covered by earnings, by cash flows, by money in, money out. So the dividend factor's real high, the dividend safety and sleep at night factor. So
yeah, no doubt. And by the way, Tim has been working with us here for, I think, over a decade now, hasn't it been, Tim?
It's over a decade, and we've actually, we've done real well with the bank stock portfolio that we have over on the Market there. And
yes, we have.
I'll just tell you straight up, folks. And I looked the other day. We've got a few stocks that are down, not many in the portfolio, but because the rules we use are so strict and we don't ever break the rules, we've never, ever, ever sold a bank stock at a loss, ever.
So the bank stocks that have moved down, have them been bought out or rolled up, and then you end up collecting a premium on them?
You got it. I mean, we tend to make volatility work for us. If we get everything right on the margin of safety side, right? And you can't, but mostly right? So that that this bank's not going under, and this goes to other forms of securities as well, but banks in particular, if you know that you're not going to get taken out and, shot by something in the economy or in the market, that you've got lots of capital, that you've got a strong loan portfolio, that you've got insiders with skin in the game, and you've got all these things that mean this bank's going to survive until they eventually sell or grow, then, you pop champagne corks when the price goes down. You're excited. You want to buy more. I mean, if you loved it at 90% a book, you got to be doing the happy dance at 70% a book, right?
Yeah.
And that has happened. We had it in March of 2023 where, I basically told people at the Money Show that, you're going to have to tell your grandkids someday that you didn't listen to me today, right now, and go out and buy these bank stocks. And that has come to pass. A couple of them have gotten taken over. We love bank stocks, and we always have, because there's an edge. Nobody understands them. They want to trade a bank stock like they trade Microsoft, and it just doesn't work.
Doesn't work. Absolutely. And I love this comment because I actually felt the same way on Friday and Monday. I love looking at the Melvin stocks in my portfolio because they stay green when everything else is bleeding. And in some cases, like we saw, bleeding considerably. So really, really good stuff. Tim, this is one of my favorite times of the week. Can't thank you enough. Thank you enough for stopping by here. Great stuff here today again.
Thank you, Tim.
All right. Thank you very much, guys. Have a fantastic rest of the week. And look, guys, bank stocks are terrible. I'm telling you, your dog's going to run away. Your wife or spouse is either going to leave you or come back, whichever is the least favorable outcome. I mean, all of this bad stuff is going to happen if you buy bank stocks. So I need you to sell them. And if you want a list of the ones to sell, let me go through my portfolio and I'll get you a list. And you should just dump those now. Okay.
All right, Tim, it is a blast as always. Have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week.
Guys, thank you very much. Bye.
All right, take care, Tim. That is Tim. Always good for a good pick, but also a laugh. And I'll tell you what, laughter goes a long way in this business. Hope that you folks enjoyed that. Really good stuff here. By the way, while he was talking, added both of these to my long-term portfolio, TFSL and VSL. So really good stuff there from Tim. But we have some flowers to hand out. We have some flowers to hand out because while all that was happening, Smoke Tuna was in here telling us that there was a spot here on Aditxt, literally right here, literally 135. 135, the stock moved negative by 2 cents and then ripped through the VWAP here. Smoke Tuna, this call was so good. I could not interrupt Tim while we were talking, but this is exactly why we have the chat. This is exactly why we stay active in the chat. This call was money. This was probably the sharpest, most actionable call of the day here. Smoke Tuna, take a bow. That was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Okay. Now what else is moving around? How is CMG doing, by the way? Are we up here today again? We are. Those calls working out. By the way, closed the Disney swing ahead of those earnings. So we did that short on Disney. That was awesome. That paid. Kind of wish I kept just a very, very little bit, maybe even just one single put would have been cool to hold through earnings as this is moving lower here today. But 13, I got to thank you because that Disney thesis was awesome. We made money off that. We rolled profits into Chipotle. That's working here. So a lot of that stuff really just kind of funneling on itself.
Yeah, that was, if you've been paying attention to what Disney's been pumping out lately, you know that it's not looking good right now. But they apparently are making some changes. They did get rid of a lot of their, we'll call them activist producers over at Marvel. So there might be a turnaround there with that content. So we'll see.
All right. Really good stuff there. Christopher saying, world's most expensive burrito. Tell me that you've never been to any Mexican restaurant without saying, hey, I've never been to a Mexican restaurant. Chipotle is not even close to the world's most expensive burrito. Not even effing close. That's okay. Take profits on Aditxt. First of all, you should be taking profits on any of the stuff that you get here today. We talked about that really the past couple of weeks here. Don't be afraid to take profits, especially if you're day trading. You can always buy some of these back. Aditxt, though, this was a J Wild call. This was a Smoke Tuna timely call. Looks like we're popping again here to the highs. Watch and see if this breaks out here. I'd be trimming into this move, not buying this move, FYI.
SPY starting to look a little bit weak. It's slightly above 530, but it's looking like there's some pressure on whether or not it's going to hold that level.
We had okay. Sorry, go ahead.
No, just to say, just kind of like looking at that, mentioning it. Maybe we'll get some support at 530, but it's looking like it's trying to go lower.
There was a comment here. I think can't find it. Can't find it here, but in looking, I found this comment, which I'm sorry I missed. So ChatGPT has rewritten Gin and Juice, scrolling through the charts, tracking tickers, sipping on dividend yields, laid back with my mind on my money, or with my mind on the market and the market on my mind. Purgatory Park. This is so good. I mean, look, whoever says ChatGPT is worthless clearly didn't play around with this. That was awesome. I'm sorry I missed that.
Call Weird Al and Snoop Dogg. Maybe we can get a collab going. Oh, and well, looks like SPY did end up going lower. This was looking like it was kind of getting weak up, trying to hold 530. So we fell through it. Maybe it'll get some support here at 529.
Okay. Sorry, we were both talking there at the same time.
It looks like ZCMD is trying to turn around. Still don't have a stomach for this one, but it looks like it may have found a bottom. I'm not 100% sure, but if it looks interesting to you, maybe go for it. MACD looks like it's trying to curl as well. If it the price can get back above its VWAP, then maybe I'll be interested in it, but I still don't like it.
Real quick here, Kevin, your question. What were the two tickers that Tim brought us here today? TFSL. The other one was VLY.
You also mentioned COLB.
Okay, COLB. Thank you. I actually didn't buy that one. He was asking the ones that I bought, but good call there. You got a really good memory. VLY, Victor Lima Yankee. And also, I'm getting reports that my sound is off. Is anyone else hearing that?
I hear you.
Does it sound reverby and funky, or does it sound normal and good?
Sounds normal to me.
We got to make sure we got those golden pipes going there. James, I'd check your settings on your end. You're good. Thank you. Okay, sweet. I hear you just fine. Negative. Okay, sweet. So we're good. James, I'm sorry that sound error appears to be on your end. Maybe you've got two streams open. Don't know. Anyway, what else is moving here, folks? Today is a really good day. Do we need anything else with Aditxt going buck wild? Jay Wild was on this from the open.
Well, I don't want to stare at one thing all day, so yeah.
Okay. Let's check in on Lumen. You know what? Lumen, we haven't looked at that in a little bit here. What's going on with, oh, wow. Lost the VWAP, moving back down to who called Lumen going lower earlier today? There was someone in here that was all about that.
I don't know who was calling for it.
I can't remember it either. I can't remember it either.
All I said was that, we see better movement in outside the regular session and that the float is still large. That's really all I said. I don't think I was calling for this to, Well, here's the thing.
I think one of the chatters.
It was one of them. Yeah. It was one of them. But you did say earlier that you were mentioning the price targets from I think it was Goldman Sachs. They had a $4 one, and it's above that, so I think it would come in.
Okay. Real quickly, Lumen is exhausted. Sure, looks like that. Smoke Tuna is trading like that. Joe, talking about Sava here. You crushed Sava. I'm sorry I missed that with my sell call yesterday, or what? Should I take my boot off their necks here on Sava? Seems a little bit aggressive. I don't know if you need to do any of that. It should be about you making money. However, that short call, let's give the props, dude. Register ring. Look at this. This thing was 37. You got almost a 10-point move in a day here on that short call. And it was you, Joe, that called Lumen lower. Okay. Said it wouldn't trade to the pre-market or the after-hours highs. Classic idiot stonks full of moon boys trading the Robinhood. Okay. You are way too aggressive with name calling other traders there. That is for sure. But nonetheless, really good call here because it does look like Lumen is exhausted. Maybe we come back in a little bit here. I agree with you. I don't think this is going to reach yesterday's pre-market or after-hours high.
Yeah, don't get mad at the folks that are buying your shares that you're selling at the top. They're going to be bag holders. They have enough to deal with.
ADTX. You guys, ADTX, this is the stack du jour, at least so far here today. Was Swim one of them that we were looking at earlier? Yeah, that's popping here as well. Swim. This is a wild stock. The chop here is real.
AST has been great. We already talked about how great that one's been. Looks like it's starting to turn around, though. We'll have to see if it can hold above VWAP.
Palantir, look at that. Little run out of the gate there, dip and rip. New highs here on Palantir. I think we're going to get 30 prints on this before it backs off. I'll wait this one out, though. I think we'll get another opportunity to add this lower.
Opportunity was yesterday, I think.
No, I
not,
mean,
not yesterday, the day before.
Yeah, I mean, I hope we're able to add it a little bit lower. We'll see.
I'm still looking for 29.50 because that's where we kind of topped out last month before we came right back in, and that kind of created a bit of a demand or a supply zone. So if we get through that, that'd be interesting. And I think you're right. We could go through 30, but 29.50 I think is the top that I'm looking at right now.
SLRX was getting mentioned earlier. I'm going to go to that one here. This actually looks like we might be gearing up for another run here. Is anyone trading VIX? I know VIX is really kind of muted now. I'm just wondering if anyone's still kind of trading that after the big move that we've had. Just curious. SLRX here taking that VWAP out. Let's see if this can actually go towards the high end of the range here. What's the big? What are the big volume movers today? Let's see what we got going on here.
So Joe, when you said the Bitcoin would dump, it should be a buy around the retest of low under 50K. Didn't we get that already this morning? And so would that kind of already fit into what you're saying? Because we already did. I thought we did trade beneath 50K this morning.
Did we really?
I thought we did.
Here, let me bring up Bitcoin. I don't think that we did.
Unless I had one of those weird prints that I was worried about. No, it doesn't look like we did. So that was
no. I don't think so.
Okay, then I must have seen some weird anomaly on my my chart earlier. We didn't even get anywhere near there. That was weird.
FMC highs. Where's Lion Atlas at? Yeah. So Dr. Manred, looking for a good entry here on Upstart. So I'll talk about. So here we go on Upstart. This to me seems like a scalp or stock that you can scalp here. In fact, I'm probably going to try this here today. This recapture of the VWAP. This was probably the best trade to make here today. Maybe if you're going to take that range break, the high a day break, but those haven't been working. This VWAP reclaim here, pretty good. This actually traded down to a pre-market support level as well. But I think you're going to be able to scalp this stock here today. Go ahead.
Bitcoin did get under 50K, but that was a few days ago. That was back on Monday.
I was going to say I didn't think so this morning though. Okay, but
no, not this morning. No, it was earlier this week, but not this morning. I was wrong about that. All right. So what are we looking at now? So watching Palantir, seeing if it's going to get up to that 29.50. To me, or just the market seemed like there's just a lot of slowing down.
I am checking the Twitter streets. I don't see much in the way of actionable stock stuff, though.
Yeah. Okay.
So it does seem, I agree with you, 13. It does seem like things are slowing down. My best scalp target here for today is UPST. This is going to be Upstart. I think this will probably keep going here. Dr. Manred, I'm trying to think if there's I would say VWAP. I think if you get VWAP, this thing probably bounces, especially given the strength here today. But I mean, maybe just kind of watching volume flow and trying to scalp through high a day breaks until this doesn't work anymore.
This is some of the lowest volume we've had in SPY at the open that I've seen.
Which is crazy because we've actually had a couple of days here where the SPY volume has actually been pretty good.
Well, it was good on Tuesday, and it was mostly good on Tuesday.
Yeah, that was the $141 million day, or 141 million share day, right? Monday,
yes.
Yeah, and I think it was like 60 something yesterday, which was still above the average.
But when you go back over the past days, you can see that in the morning and especially the after into the close, there's a lot more volume. We didn't get really that much volume this morning at the open like we normally do, and I think that we probably won't get as much volume at the close either.
All right, let's try and help out. Let's try and help out our Uper trader here. Let's look for an entry level here for Dell. So one of the things that I was watching for on Dell was a possible 200 reclaim, but that just got blown away. Like that wasn't even really all that close. It didn't really give that to you. Now I still think that we're hunting a bottom here. I'm thinking that maybe $80, 80 to $82 might be a decent entry in there. I would say if this keeps coming down, maybe 75. I don't know if it gets to that 500 day, but I would probably try another trade there on Dell. If we don't get to any of those levels and we are able to kind of turn back up here and reclaim that 200 day, I think that actually would be pretty good. But as far as a support, what do you think, 13?
Well, I'm looking at a weekly chart on Dell, and I just see that the 50-week SMA is providing some stiff resistance right now. It traded up to that and got rejected. I turn over to the monthly, and I can see that right beneath your $80 price target is the 20-month SMA. That seems interesting. Like we could get some support from that. Now, there's no guarantee. I don't know if we're going to continue to see massive sell-off in Dell, but that would be an interesting support level. I think that 80 sounds pretty good at this moment.
Yeah, see what this all of those levels that you just talked about, 13, it tells me that like we're still hunting. Like I don't think this has bottom yet. I still think we're hunting for that level that we're going to turn around at. The blow through the 200 day, the retest and flat out rejection now at the low end of the range here of the 50 week. The 20-month SMA that you were just talking about. I think Dell probably goes a little bit lower here. Yeah, I mean, 80 is probably the best target I have. Good night, Robert. I don't know where you are, but probably Australia. You have yourself a good one. Get rested up. We'll see you tomorrow. Real quickly here, I will do Micron here in a sec, but really quickly, let me just check some of those ADTX. We had Smoke Tuna mentioning that this was going for 2. This actually bull flagging here and consolidating, so a potential trade here on ADTX. I know it's run kind of a bit here today, but potential setup, high risk given what it's done here today. That was moving. What else did we miss here? Indo was the other one, the Snoop Dogg stock of the day. Looks like it's trying to take out the VWAP there. A move through the VWAP. I think maybe we do see never mind, getting rejected here a little bit. We'll see if that sets up again.
If ADT is setting up, or I'm sorry, if ADTX is setting up, I think it looks better to try and play that bull flag closer to 165, maybe a little bit lower.
Let's see if you get it right here.
Yeah. It might not even get down to that level.
If it takes out this 77, this actually might go ADTX. We'll have to come back here. Let me do a really quick. There's the 77.
SGMO.
There it goes. Okay, let's see if this gets above 82. Smoke Tuna, I swear, if you just hit another one like with the perfect timing, that is going to be unbelievable. They refilled the seller at 178 and then deleted him. Here we are at 180. Look for this 182 pop. I think this probably goes to the highs if we move through this. Back to 77. They added some more stock there. We'll see tons of wicks on this. So a battle currently going on. While we wait this battle out, if you guys are interested in trading ADTX, might want to keep this one up. There's something going on here right now. They brought in a bid now. Okay, we'll watch that one. I do want to get back here and Frank, I'm not going to leave you hanging, I promise. We'll take a look here at Micron. This has been one of those darling chip stocks, really on the backside of the move here. This one, however, looking a little bit different than Dell. This doesn't necessarily look like it's hunting for a bottom. It actually looks like it's trying to bottom here. Today, it's kind of giving us on the daily. Oh, excuse me. This is a weekly chart. Let me go back to that daily chart. Okay, so here's your daily chart. So I would still probably wait this out. Looks like that bounce was fairly short-lived. I think we could probably come to 80. Maybe let's call it 79 here. Your 500-day at 77. This is a pretty big sell-off. So let's see when we moved from about here, this low, this high. Ooh, look at that. So we pretty much bounced off that 0.786 fib level. Maybe we retest that and hold it again on Micron.
I like 79.
You like 79. Okay, that was my initial level too here. 79.
Yeah, I like 79.
Okay.
It's also oversold, so I would think that we at least try to trade back up towards the 20-day SMA, maybe even fill the gap that's right beneath it on the way up there to 100, and then we could turn around and talk about getting that price target. But it's oversold, so I would expect there to be a little bit more trading up before we get down to that $79 level.
Did bounce off that 20-month SMA pretty clean there. That also lines up nicely with the fib level. Interesting. Okay, so Micron, I think, is probably closer to its bottom than Dell, if that makes sense.
Well, let's just see how much it's come off this high here. Micron has a 45% correction off the highs that it just printed in June. That's a big move over, a quarter, within a quarter.
Okay. Good stuff. Let me go back to the trade the pool. Here is Aditxt, which is what we were watching. Looks like they had a little bit of a shake and bake there, right? Trying to shake out some of those weak hands and bounce. We'll see if this does resolve here to the upside. Remember, I did say once we see a couple of these legs up, they become more and more risky. So that first one here, when Jay Wild gave it to us super early this morning, that moved through the VWAP, probably the earliest one. Smoke Tuna's call here on the second move through the VWAP, not quite as big, but perfectly timed. Those two worked pretty well. We did get kind of that delayed reaction here for the third leg. Let's see if we get a fourth leg. Remember, with each increasing leg here, I do think this gets more and more risky in terms of whether or not that's going to keep moving to the upside here.
It went down to 166, and I was looking for 165.
Hey, you got zunated.
I got zunated.
You got zunated. Here's your Disney chart. So this was popped after earnings and immediately dropped. Looks like we kind of double bottomed in the pre-market and the regular session down here at 86. Glad I'm out of my puts at this point. That's for sure. That was a nice trade, though. 100% on that trade, on those options trades. Chris saying cup and handle formation continues here. I think you're talking about a smaller time frame, right? Because I don't think we're
Disney.
Yeah, I don't think we're getting that on the daily. Yeah, not really.
No.
Wonder what time frame that is on there, Chris.
Let me see if I can find it. Let's see here. He's probably referring to one of the lower.
He's referring to the 15-minute.
Okay. So I guess what you're waiting for now is, well, I don't like the cup and handle down here. I want to see it, in an uptrend down here.
Yeah. So just for clarity here, I believe, and Chris, please correct me if I'm speaking improperly about you, but I believe that you are a mega bull for Disney, right? You have a history with Disney. You like the stock, and I think 13 here. You're on the opposite side of that. So let's just keep that in mind here when we're talking about frame of references. I believe Chris, super Disney bull, and 13 current Disney bear. I'm on your team, by the way, 13.
Well, it's not about teams.
I'm joking.
Yeah, I mean, it's just all the things they have going against it right now just don't make it attractive. Until they start making some changes, they're to their appeal. And I think there was also that potential strike issue that's on the table. I know they signed an agreement, but it was a tentative agreement, and I don't think there's anything that's been definitive yet. Still a lot of question marks for me with Disney. I don't like it right now.
Okay. Real quickly here, Shopify, getting asked about Shopify. Siddhartha saying, what do you think of Shopify? Well, I was telling you earlier, I don't really understand the business model, although I do use it for shipping purposes because some of the companies that I order through force me to do that. But when I look at the chart here, what I see is a stock that is definitely attempting to bottom. And actually, I think that it might be in. I mean, maybe if the consumer weakens, we do kind of take another move to the low here. So maybe kind of factor that into your trade plan here. But we're setting up for a watch here. I really want to see what it does at the 200-day. Stop me if you've heard that before. The last two times we were here since June, we were rejected. And so taking a long now for 2.5 points of upside. Not the greatest risk to reward there. Seeing if we can maybe clear this 200-day and get some type of run back towards some of the other ranges like 80 or 90, that'd be a little bit more palatable. Revenue up 21% in shop. So Smita, that tells you that this is getting more traction, right? This is absolutely getting used by more and more people. I wonder, I'll let you, if I ever start, maybe there will be something that kind of hooks me in the app. I've kind of browsed around, but I've never been hooked enough to pull the trigger. I know it's anecdotal. The earnings report says more valuable stuff than that. Let me go back to the trade the pool. Take a look at some of these other stocks that are moving around here. Here's Indo. We're getting ready to move through that VWAP there on Indo. HUSA. This is an oil stock, isn't it? Yeah, American Energy. I think Indo is too, right? IMPP, another one. Yep, these are all energy stocks.
It seems like natural gas is kind of been the play so far today. I was noticing that with oil rising up. We also had, I forget which company said it, but they saw an increase in natural gas production. Actually, it's one of the most produced segments of their oil business. I think it was Devon Energy. Let me double check that. I'll get information for you guys.
So real quickly here, Amanda saying Shopify makes its money from the stores that use them for checkout, not the end user. So that makes sense. So basically, if I order from a company's website and they ship me something and all of the tracking is done through Shopify, I don't use Shop Pay or any of their pay stuff that they have, that's still a net positive then for Shopify, from what I understand here? Because if that's the case, then I think that model's a little bit better. As long as people are buying stuff, I think this becomes a game of how many stores or online shops are under the Shopify umbrella, right? That's going to be your revenue ramp there, I would imagine. Boyle. But remember, folks, I know we've talked about Boyle a lot here. I don't think I can pull that up and trade the pool. This is the Widowmaker. I can. This is the Widowmaker, right? This is you can trade this. It can be real fun. You'll see some huge moves, but be careful. Have a plan. Have a plan.
And Robert, we are flooded with natural gas. That's due to the export controls the current administration is imposing. So the thought here is that if we get a change in administration, those export controls get lifted, and we'll be selling a lot more natural gas. Natural gas companies could do really well under the next administration if Trump's elected.
And see, that's kind of the uncertainty we're talking about, right? Because it doesn't seem like the market has that figured out, and that's where we're seeing some of the back and forth stuff there.
Yeah, still trying to find where I saw that mention about the production of natural gas. I'm still looking, folks.
Oh my God, look at EXEL. Boy, I take responsibility. I missed this one, folks. Let me see if this was on the scanner. Look at this move. We gapped up, moved through the highs after a dip. We moved right through the VWAP here. Oh man, this would have been a good one. Nice little trade here, EXEL. Don't see that here on the scanner. I wonder what's going on. Uh-oh. Oh, the hardware mute button to stop a sneeze. Let's go. ADTX collapsing. Okay, so what did I just say about those legs up? They're going to become more and more risky. Let's see what happens here at the 200. 200. I'm so ingrained with it. I keep saying it. Let's see what happens here at the VWAP.
SLRX.
What did you say?
SLRX.
Naval asking, SMCI dropping fast. Will it get to the 400 today? We had a gentleman in the happy hour yesterday that had a price target between 295 and 3 something. So he obviously thinks that can keep going down here. No end in sight. And what was it? JT, I think was the handle from the gentleman. We had a guy in the happy. I don't know if he's here, but we had a guy in the happy hour last night that I got 550 puts on SMCI. I got 550 puts. And then the earnings report comes out and it starts rocketing. And he's like, well, that's done. And then 20 minutes later, he's doing the happy dance because the entire backside of this move took it lower. And he's deep in the money now. Robert, he's been all over SMCI for a while, not just on this move, but on several moves here. Robert saying 325 possible here on SMCI. Wouldn't even be shocked. Wouldn't even be shocked. By the way, literally everyone that stuck around to the end of the day should be green today because Anne Marie's SMCI trade was just out of control yesterday. And so if you guys followed that trade, I mean, unreal. She gave out another trade yesterday on the webinar that likely would have paid for the subscription itself. It was so good. Just goes to show you how these moves can really, really be awesome. She was positioned for either an upside or a downside move. It didn't matter which way it moved. As long as it moved like this, she was good. It was good.
Man, did you look at SLRX yet?
No, let's do that. Sorry, I was out here rambling.
That's all right. This had a good move after that that retracement, that pull, that the pullback here, and then it shot over VWAP. That was a good setup.
Rejected at that double top, but not over yet. We'll see if it ends up holding the VWAP here. Rahat asking about Snap. Yeah, this is kind of ugly. To me here, Snap, I got to put this in the day trading only category. This is not a stock that I'd feel comfortable. What's the bull case on Snap? I'm open to listening. What's the bull case here on Snap? Aren't the kids these days moving to something else? Snapchat isn't as popular. Don't really think that they make money. Kind of their tech's out of favor. What is the bull case here for Snap?
If you're asking me, I don't know. But
no, I'm asking the royal you. I'm asking anyone here in the group. If there's a bull case on Snap, I want to hear. I don't know what it is. Snap sucks. Says
yeah,
Robert.
I don't get the social media appeal that much anymore. So I really couldn't comment on that. I'm kind of just really impressed with how ASTS continues to rocket. This thing, this thing is just crazy.
Snap though, Rahat, I mean, to me, the way I would use this as a day trade vehicle. I mean, first of all, you can see how well it behaves around its VWAP. If you get a catalyst here, you should pretty easily be able to interpret whether that catalyst is a positive or negative. And that can give you the momentum angle for trading this. For a long term though, there is so many other, I mean, we just talked about several banks that pay you to own the stock. I would much rather take 100% of the money that I would put in Snap and throw it in one of those and just sit on it for a bit. Let it pay me for holding it. So that's what I got for you there. The bull case for Snap is gambling.
Well, and it's possible. And you know how we had that conversation about how we could end up seeing NFL player stocks or, sports, figure stocks. Could end up seeing the same thing when it comes to Hollywood actors. It would not surprise me if we ended up going that route. But
so this is interesting. This is interesting. Snap is behind the AI curve that things like Facetune are using. Okay, so you're saying then that the kind of the AI features that are driving people to the product, Snap is just behind on that. I mean, to me, that's more downside. Sorry, 13. What was that?
INDO is trying to break above VWAP again. It's on a recovery.
Maybe I'll do one less cup of coffee tomorrow. I feel like I'm running you over a little too much. It is not my intention, 13.
No,
I apologize.
No, don't worry. We're all fine here. We'll get all the things we need to say out.
Oh, Sound AI. Yeah, Bernardo, sorry, I missed that earlier. I think you're asking about SoundHound, right? You're asking about SOUN. So here's what I'll say. I don't have any. You asked about the earnings, if I recall correctly. They're tomorrow. I don't have any expectation for that. I guess if I was coming up with one, I would think that this is probably not great. The one caveat here, I think the reason that this stock is still holding up here is because of that NVIDIA investment that it got. 13, do you know of any levers that they'd be able to pull to make the earnings more appealing? I'm asking out of ignorance. I literally don't know if that's going to help them in this earnings report at all.
Maybe if NVIDIA fully acquires them.
Okay.
I mean, that's the it's kind of a BS answer, but I don't know what else this would move on unless they just somehow get more business. Because what is exactly they do? This is AI in the like verifying kind of like what IDAI does, right? Like they verify sound.
I think they're able
the
to
person's
use.
voices.
Yeah, I think they're able to use AI to detect sound. Here, SoundHound is an innovator of conversational intelligence, offering an independent voice AI platform that enables businesses across industries to deliver high-quality conversational experience to customers.
So is that going to be like a text-to-speech kind of thing?
That's what it sounds like to me. I mean, look, I can see this proliferating as companies try to downsize, right? This is one of those angles where I can see jobs being replaced with robots. Instead of having a human, you have a robot that's giving you chat assistance or speech to text assistance or something like that. I don't know what that's going to mean for this particular earnings print. I mean, maybe.
Smoke Tuna call center on AI. So basically when you call a company and you get the automated voice, it's SoundHound that you're hearing that's trying to sound more like a person, so you don't feel like you're talking to a robot, which we still feel like we're talking to robots.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've talked to someone I can verify as a human, and they're spewing just corporate lines. It feels like it's a robot. So I'm with you. I'm with you there. I'm not playing this for earnings. Just to be clear, I'm not playing this for earnings. We'll say, look at this changes. Ooh, August. Hang on. Oh, these were grants. Okay, so it looked like there was some insider purchase right ahead of earnings. All of these from 8/5. So that actually had me wondering here if maybe there are insiders buying ahead of earnings. That would be a very bullish signal. But these are grants. So I'm just not sure this carries the same weight, right? Like down here, these are sales. So these are sales on the open market. That happened at the end of June. So this actually happened in between the last earnings print and the earnings print here tomorrow. You had the CEO, CFO, COO, CTO, CPO, and the VP of engineering selling stock on the open market. I got no position here. My gut tells me we trade down. Just given with some of the other stuff that we've seen here, the beating that SMCI has taken. I know they're not related. My gut is that we trade down. Whatever position you have, I hope that you make money. I have no money on this play. But if you're asking for my opinion, looking at all those things, I think SOUN trades down post earnings, Bernardo. If you're long, don't let me scare you out of position. Do your own research. Trust yourself. But you asked me, there it is.
Jonathan Cabrera is thinking Big is trying to short squeeze. And as I recall, Big Lots was a high short squeeze candidate. 23.85% of the float shorted with 1.9 days to cover. So this is actually a big departure from where it used to be shorted. This thing had over 50% of the float shorted at one point, and it was much more of a short squeeze candidate. Not that this float isn't high. It's just that their days to cover is much lower. So it's not going to squeeze for multiple days. It's just going to probably do, maybe today, possibly tomorrow, and then be done. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. It's not going to be as robust of a short squeeze as we would have had, like let's say last year when it was like over 40 and 50%. But I think you're right. We are seeing a bit of a squeeze, just a little bit.
Okay. SOUN. Sound Easy Mike saying sound ran already. Kind of late to the party, pal. Oh, I love the Die Hard reference there. Welcome to the party. I love it. Easy Mike, modified for situation. Okay. Got you.
Okay. On a 16 million cash runway. How much are they losing? Let's take a look. That's not right. Hold on a second.
Yes. Oh, we are amongst friends. People know that Die Hard is absolutely a Christmas movie and is one of the best Christmas movies. With you there. We are amongst friends for sure. HubSpot. I think you asked earlier, Atomic. I'm sorry if we didn't cover it. HubSpot. So this one's been tricky for me. I know that this has been a Jason Raznick favorite, and he made an absolute boatload of money off this. This was such a good call for him. I don't know what his current position is, and I know someone asked me about IMNN or IMND in mode. I didn't get an answer for that yet either. So I don't know what his position is.
16 million cash runway for SoundHound. I'm seeing they have 211 million in cash. Can you confirm that with me, Ryan? Because
what am I doing here? Sorry.
SoundHound's cash position on the balance sheet.
Mm-hmm. Let me check here real fast. Boop, 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 boop. 211 million as of the end of last quarter.
Yeah, and they're losing between 15 and 35 million every quarter.
Yep.
So they do have a good cash runway, but it's much more substantial than 16 million. It's much bigger. So maybe that's one of the big reasons why it trades as well as it does. It's got a lot of cash. God,
Yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
cash.
Robert. We amongst friends. We out here, dude. We out here. We amongst friends. Die Hard for yes. Controversial opinion. I like Die Hard 2 a lot as well. Most people think that movie sucks, but it's great. Let's get back to HubSpot here. So the good thing about HubSpot, they have done really well. I think you had mentioned earlier that they have a history of doing really well on the earnings. Look at this. Here's your earnings history. They have only beat to the upside. I have no record here of them surprising EPS and revenue to the downside. I don't have any position on this, but gosh, given its past performance and where we are, I would say, go with what works until it doesn't work anymore. God, I hope I'm not like, this is the first time where the stock's going to get absolutely pounded on. I'm going to look like a complete idiot. I really hope that doesn't happen. But this has been beating consistently. This thing really crushes earnings.
You're right about that. The one thing I do see with this is that these surprise beats and surprise revenue, these numbers are getting smaller. It might be margin compression, but if you look at the EPS from last year going into this year, you're seeing that we're not so much into the 35, 40 percent handled on the or percentages on the EPS beats. We're now down to the teens. So that's a trend that I'm seeing with this. Same thing with the surprise revenue. It used to be above 5 and above 4. Now we're down to 3.
Yeah. Maybe we see some financial engineering here on the EPS side to kind of pad that beat. I don't know.
That's just one thing that stands out to me with this. It's great that they've had so many beats, massive beats sometimes.
Massive. I mean, this stock has crushed its earnings reports.
Yeah.
Like Shohei Ohtani type, like crushing earnings reports.
But
anyway,
I think that's one of the reasons why you might be seeing such downside is that those beats are getting smaller. There might be some magic numbers not getting hit on those earnings. So.
Let's see. What do the market makers have priced in for this? They have a 40-point move priced in for Hubs.
And it had a death cross at the end of July.
Yeah. So options here telling you that it's implying a $40 move here. So you're looking at either 420 on the downside or 505 on the upside. There you go. This might be another one for you to take an Anne-Marie type trade, right? You might want to do that. You might want to take a butterfly here for the bottom and the top side. Hopefully you get one of those where it really kind of outperforms and then one of your butterflies covers the other and pays you nicely. Just like we did on SMCI. That's the best I can give you on HubSpot. Let me know. I can't wait to see how this reports, though. I can't wait to see how this reports. Plane landing scene was from Alpena, Michigan. Did not know that. That's actually pretty sweet.
I like the third one. I think the third one was my favorite. To be honest.
Yeah, Die Hard with a Vengeance. I mean, look, you get Samuel L. Jackson with Bruce Willis in a Die Hard movie and you put Jeremy Irons there as the cherry on top. Yeah, it's hard to beat that. Hard to beat that. Somebody had fun. There's just so many good one-liners in that. I mean, I'm telling you, dude, it's awesome. That entire series is great. Like, why can't movies be that fun anymore?
Oh, well, I don't want to, get in trouble for saying something that might make people mad.
Yeah, let's not do that. But we'll save that for another day. We'll save that for another day. By the way, folks, just a couple of minutes here. We're going to have Zunaid join us. We got Futures Fever coming on after us today. So full day of content here. Lots of exciting stuff going on. So stick around. Yeah.
Mad Money, my outlook for SPY for the rest of the day. I'm kind of on the side that it's going to do something similar that we've seen earlier this week in the past couple of days, where we trade up and then we get weak in the afternoon and come back in. Earlier today, I didn't really say I was sure where we could go. I just gave kind of upside and downside targets because we could, shop around this market for a little while, and I don't want to, kind of predict where we're going to end up. But I think that we may end up seeing some more weakness. I think this is just a temporary bounce. I'd still would like to see the market get down to that 10% correction level, and go even lower before we start talking about a rally that's going to take us to new all-time highs.
Okay. Tony here. Weren't SoundHound behind the McDonald's drive-through they were testing in some Illinois restaurants? Tony, I don't know. You'd be able to find that going through the news there. I don't go to McDonald's anymore, so I can't even tell you. I can't even give you a boots on the ground experience there. Quantum says, good show today. Lots of laughs. That's great. Hopefully you also made some money. We had some incredible calls here from the group. Just awesome. This is exactly what we want this show to be on a regular basis. You guys really smoked it today. Really smoked it today. We got another reverse splitter coming up here. I'm going to watch it carefully. A reverse splitter that got decimated and maybe worthy of a small long position once 230 gets taken out. ATXI. Joe, there has been a reverse split catalyst theme that has been going on for a while that we have ended up trading. So,
and once that split happens, it unwinds. Well, this is a reverse split, so this is a bit different. I was referring to regular splits, but let's see with ATXI, what have they got in the float? Okay, so this already reverse split. Then is what you're saying.
Yeah, I think he's looking for that key level to get taken out here.
Okay, so this reverse split back in April. ATXI.
Okay, all right. I'm going to go back here real quick. Boop. Again, we will have Zunaid joining us shortly. Let's take a look at this ADTX. Oh, we did get that. 1, 2, 3. We got our third leg up here on ADTX. Look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Run into 2. Who called 2 earlier? Was Tuna calling 2 earlier?
I think with ATXI, you'll probably see it's more likely you'll see a cash raise, like an offering.
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Hey, Zunaid. How you doing, dude?
I'm doing well. I had a nice little morning. Went out for a walk in the sun. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling energized, man.
That is about what I'm going to do. I got my 5 miles coming up here. I mainlined some coffee this morning, so I'm absolutely jacked. We had the Bears Hard Knocks. It is
How was that before you go?
It was phenomenal, dude. It was phenomenal. There are so many people that I work with that are talking smack about how the Bears are bad and Caleb wears nails and it is just going to be a complete beatdown for these clowns when this gets rolling. I am so excited.
Well, get your son, man. 13. Good to see you, pal, and we'll see y'all tomorrow.
Take care, buddy.
Take care.
All right, y'all. We're going to go ahead and start things. Remember I told you guys last week that we were going to have a new show that was going to go ahead and start with us here, and that's going to be with my man Ben over at Story Trading. And, it's an interesting concept. We tell you guys this all the time, but the charts, in my opinion, kind of tell a story. It kind of tells a psychological aspect of human behavior, machine behavior, whatever you want to call it. But let me go ahead and bring on my man, Ben. Ben, what's up, man? How you doing?
How you doing, Nate? So glad to be back here. Benzinga, one of my favorite places. I've been on your shows back in the past with Luke and Aaron Bry. I got my Benzinga swag on from the investor conference in Orlando a couple years ago when I met the whole entire team. I really love what you guys do, and so glad to be back here with you.
Awesome, man. Hey, I'm happy to have you, especially in what has been a volatile week where it looked like the world was ending, and now it's like, oh, dang, I should have bought the dip, at least for the time being. Who knows what the rest of the week, rest of the month, rest of the year is going to bring on. But before we bring on your guest, man, tell me a little bit about Story Trading.
Sure. Well, you touched on a little bit. It's Story Trading. We believe there's a story behind the chart, right? We actually believe markets are efficient. So some people will be like, what the hell are you talking about, Ben? So I'm not talking about the day-to-day chop, the up and down intraday. I'm talking about if you pull up a daily chart and you look at the movements over, a swing period, up, down, big spikes up. all of that to us is a reflection of market efficiency. So we don't look at market efficiency simply as a matter of fundamental value, as a stock trading below or above fundamental value. We think market efficiency also has to do with sentiment, catalyst, technicals, all of it. You put it together, and to me, these are all valid factors in the fair market value of a stock. So when you have that perspective, you look at yesterday's close price of any stock, and we believe that's the fair market value price, the correct price of that stock yesterday. And when you have a delta of information, you get a delta in price. So our process is we start with the catalyst. We don't start with the chart. We take a look at the catalyst. That's step one. Based on my 25 years of experience, plus some colleagues I collaborate with, what's the impact of that catalyst on sentiment? What's the impact on that catalyst on fundamentals? We quantify it to the extent we can, and then we come up with a thesis. This is a net benefit for the stock. This is a net negative for the stock. And only then, step 4, do we look at technicals, triangulate with technicals, come up with a thesis and a price target. And that's our process each and every single day. Every single morning, I'm up early in the morning, sometimes 5, 6 in the morning, looking at all of the catalysts and coming up with the best catalysts and best trade ideas for the day. We'll get into it a bit, but our number one trade idea this morning was Axon, AXON. Our number one pick of the day, up 23% based on this philosophy that you can see rapid re-ratings in stocks. There it is right there. Right. Last night we actually told your community, we said Axon's going to be our number one pick tomorrow morning. Look out for it. Axon, number one pick. They beat their guidance by 6%. If you do a re-rating on that, just that 6% guidance beat, it takes you to about $313. But then we triangulated. We said, okay, but now we got to look at technicals. And when you looked at a 313 re-rating on Axon, it was sky blue because now you're above the 20 DMA. You're near this candle resistance right over here. You have a low RSI, so we predicted this morning that we could get to a new all-time high. We set our price target at 330. Are you kidding me? It's 363 now. So our price target was 330. So we got our trade in from 305 to 330 within minutes, and this thing's 365. You know, if you're a great technical trader, you could run with this even further. You can be like, Ben, this is not broken. You know, the trend all day long.
That's what I was about to say is that it's still going with the EMAs as there as well. But I know you've got a couple of friends in the back. Why don't I go and bring them on? You can introduce them, and I will see myself out. I'll be back at about 11:30 for All Access. And let me go ahead and bring on our friends to the show as well. Ben, it's all you, pal. I'll see you in a bit.
All right. See ya. All right. Welcome. We got S. Mantle here from, that's his handle, The Godfather Knows, is on Twitter. He's part of our community over at Story Trading. And Rhett Foster, my buddy, is part of the Story Trading community. How you guys doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Great, Ben. Thanks for having us.
How you liking that number one pick of the day, Axon?
You never own enough of the winners. I'll say that for free.
That's been amazing. And let me just show the community here how we basically put these theses out. 1 second here. All right. So what we have something called 4-pillar picks. Let's see if this is showing. There you go. So this morning we put out this 4-pillar pick on Axon. You can see 8:26 a.m. And we just talk about those 4 steps. We start with the catalyst, earnings beat and raised by 6%. What's the impact of that catalyst on sentiment? And we had this company consistently beats and raises quarter after quarter and typically sees a gap and run with an open green candle on ER day. So that's positive sentiment on earnings beat. And the fundamentals, not cheap with the 65 forward PE. I'm sure their growth rate kind of high. Their PEG ratio might be closer to 1. But also they had a raft of analyst upgrades early this morning, and past performance gives confidence that the street will continue to award this winner with a premium. Then we looked at technicals. We just went over those technicals with you. So this is one way in which we present trade ideas to the community. It's catalyst, sentiment, fundamentals, and technicals. And we made that trade idea official on Axon. Now, yesterday we had one on Uber, but we didn't actually make it a trade card. So I can't put a trade card on everything. Market's very dynamic, very fast. We have our 9 a.m. show. So yesterday, Uber was one of our top picks, and I recommended to add this for the long term. So if you pick that at the open at like $62, which I did, I actually made a nice 3% position at around $62 on the open. And this morning we talked about it again, told you the next target is the 50 DMA, 6808. We're now above the 6808. RSI still low. I think this is still going higher. For me, this is a long-term pick. Again, I didn't have a chance to make that official trade card. I just showed everyone on that. sometimes things are just so fast, and we talk about it in a chat room or on the 9 a.m. morning show. I'll pause there. Any thoughts here on Axon and Uber, guys?
By the way, Axon just making new highs as you're talking. And the other pick this morning that has a nice short interest tailwind, looks to be close to ticking new highs of the day too. That's
which one are you talking about?
SoundHound.
Run?
Yeah, Run.
We talked about Run this morning. So I put this as a top 5 pick this morning. I usually try to pick between 3 and 5 stocks on the morning show. I didn't make a trade card on this because I don't know solar stocks. I try to only personally, trade or invest stocks I know about. I've researched before. I've never, traded any solar stocks. Like solar industry is not something I'm familiar with. Run is not something I'm familiar with. But I saw the fundamentals were good. They're cash flow positive. They're guiding for even bigger cash flow positivity, it seems like. There were a lot of analyst upgrades this morning. They had a deal with Tesla. So there were lots of really, really positive factors. And that's why
26% short interest tailwind too. So
how much is it?
That ties into the setup for the quarter.
Yeah. So, I saw those positive factors. So, I'm not going to play as so we gave this as a top 5 pick today. You can see it broke this candle resistance, this recent candle here. The high was 1901. We broke that. We're at the 1939 now. Maybe this makes a run. The 2073, 2068 looks like the next possible target on Run. I didn't play Run personally. Did you guys play any of these 3, Axon, Uber, Run, last couple days?
A little bit of the Run. I thought that the quarter was clean enough. Debt's still an issue, revenue still declining, but combined with a short interest in this Tesla deal, providing some headline momentum, I thought there was enough for an early morning trade. But I played it small because, like you, these solar stocks have been difficult to say the least.
They have been difficult. Now we are going into the spirit. I've been looking at solar stocks a little more. I put it on my watch list for earnings because of this lower interest rates that are coming. Let's take a quick peek at TLT. Okay, so TLT, we have an open trade idea on this with a 100 to 110 target, I believe it is. But anyway, so with lower interest rates coming, you got to imagine there's going to be a turnaround in the solar sector. Let's look at the TAN ETF for a second. Look at this, just been decimated. Wow. So this hasn't really had a comeback since the COVID heyday.
Obviously the Dems, the Democrats strengthening the polls help solar too, right?
They're what?
The Democrats strengthening in the polls helps solar as well.
Oh, maybe that's part of it. Yeah.
There's
also there was a concern early on when it looked like it was going to be a Trump sweep that all of these names would not perform in that kind of regime, and yeah, you've seen now people willing to put money to work in these names where perhaps 3 weeks ago they weren't.
Yeah. So absolutely, solar names, we got to start watching those. Again, I'm not an expert, so if anyone wants to join our community and they're an expert in solar, we welcome your contribution. That'll be awesome as we continue to look at Axon. Keep on going up. Why sell as long as it's above that 21-minute moving average or whatever kind of trend line you use? Wow, amazing pick this morning. Uber as well. All right, so Run in play, solar stocks in play. Rhett, what are you looking at the last couple days?
Axon, I would keep riding that thing because there's no clear indication for you to get out on the stock right now. It just keeps riding up on those EMAs, and I'd still be holding on to this thing if I were you guys. So that's my number one. And then also, for Run, I think yesterday or the day before there's news that came out. There's a $2 billion deal. I think it was for like energy companies or something like that I saw come across my screen. I'm not too sure where it was, but
yeah, I can't find them right now, but yeah, definitely. I think there is probably a tailwind. I think the Godfather, regardless of who wins the presidency, because of lower rates, I think you're going to see a tailwind in solar stocks at some point here. We're going to look for a turnaround.
There's been some natural culling as well. The smaller, really poor balance sheet companies are basically all being taken out to the woodshed. So there's consolidation in provider base there.
Unbelievable with this.
And the tariffs are not going away, irrespective of which government comes into place.
I want to bring something else up. I can't stop looking at this Axon because we quantify. So we have our 4-pillar pick ideas. I just showed you how those work. But we also have our morning show at 9, where we give you 5 stocks, but we order them based on our conviction of which we think will do the best for the day. So today, Axon was number 1. Now, one of the things that is really intriguing, which some people in our community have done successfully, is they'll take our number 1 pick and buy a call option at the money weekly call options for whatever our number 1 pick of the day is. So today that would have been, the 320 expiring this week. I just want to see if we did that, if someone did that, you got this somewhere between, depending on how you got filled, but it opened at like $15 to $18. Now it's $47. So that's well over 100% gain, but you don't even need to do that. 24% gain on Axon. I just can't get enough of this chart. So freaking awesome. And all right, anyway, let's move on. All right, so Axon, Uber was our top big cap long-term play of the day. Now, not everything works. Let me actually show you our returns in July. So we collated our returns on our top picks, not our top picks. This is based on our 4-pillar picks. So as I say, we have our 9 a.m. show in the morning. We also have ideas that come throughout the day, but these are the official 4-pillar picks where I have actually time. Market's so fast and dynamic. Sometimes I don't have time to write it out. But I had 42 trade ideas I had time to write out in July. Out of those, 29 ended up being winning trades. 69% were winning trades. And you can see the average return on the winning trades, 9.6. We closed July with 14 open trades, down 3% on them. On an average, was 5% return over 8 days. So August off to a rockier start, obviously, but we will get those numbers here at the end of the month, and you'll see how we do. We actually have a running list of them here, so you can take a look at our performance of those 4-pillar picks and this 5% gain, hit our target at 330. So we called it. But you know what? As you were saying, Rhett, no reason to sell that while it's above the 20 moving average. This is just our process to say, okay, we hit our target, we're closing it. I know. Hopefully, if you want to join our community, you can do that, by the way, at storytrading.com/BZ show and hit that QR code up top. But we are looking for contributors to join us. People who think, you know what I would love? You guys who are technical traders who are like, I'm just going to ride this 20, right? And you know nothing about the catalyst, nothing about the sentiment. Join our community today and supersize your charging, your returns. You're going to do so much better because we get you off to a right start. We give you the stocks that are directionally going to go in the right way and have a bid behind it all day, right? And then if you collaborate with our community and be like Rhett was saying, why sell at Ben's 330 target? This thing's above the moving averages. Just hold it. You'll be a great addition to our community. And we are looking for folks. When we see top contributors, we're going to elevate you. We're going to elevate you to a, what's it called, Rhett? What kind of status is it? Contributor status?
Yeah. Yep. Contributors.
Yeah. Contributor status. And then
we'll waive
your subscription fee. What's that?
Another thing I want to touch base on, Ben, is just from a technical trader point of view, I would be waiting to get in this trade, but I mean, with how our approach works nowadays, I mean, it's amazing. We're getting in way before I would have ever got in, and the moves always happen. It's
almost, not always, almost always.
Well,
you make a good point because we don't let price action lead. We let our interpretation of the catalyst lead. We don't care about price action. We're trying to front run the technical traders. We're predicting the technical breakouts and the technical breakdowns based on our analysis of the catalyst. So we'll get in far, far before the technical traders. But then if you augment that with someone who's a really good technical trader, it can really help supercharge those returns. And the reason I bring this up, at some point, Rhett, we got to collate what is the performance of our number 1 picks of the day. We gave you that sheet. Those were our 4-pillar picks. But a lot of times, Axon, all right, part of the reason I couldn't personally trade Axon today was I was preparing for the show. And I was Uber yesterday, I didn't take the time to write the trade idea for it. But I bought it in pre-market, right? I bought Uber. I'm still holding it. And I said today, I'm why should we not get credit? We know Axon's going up. Let me take the time to write the Axon trade idea this morning. And that took away my attention to try to buy the stock. It's very hard to do both, So we'll see. Hopefully I'll do more analysis and let you guys do the trading so we can give more value to everyone out there. But in any case, I just can't get to write down all the 4-pillar trade ideas. So at some point, we got to collate what the number one picks of the day are doing, how they're doing. I think I did this in the past, and it's something like 70-80% of the number one picks of the day have an open green candle for the day. It's 11:17. I think we're going to 11:30. I want to make time to come to some of the Godfather's picks. But first, before we do that, I do want to mention some picks that haven't worked out in the last couple of days, okay? First of all, Novo and Lilly. This morning, we suggested the possibility of a pair trade here. Short Novo, long Lilly on the catalyst of Novo had earnings, but they're losing market share to Lilly. So that would have worked if you did a pair trade there. A couple that haven't really worked out yet. Hims was our number one pick yesterday. So rare miss on our number one pick of the day. Really, really good earnings. I know there's a sentiment issue out there with GLP-1 shortages. Personally, I'm holding this. We're at a key spot here. What is this low? 1566. So a little more room to hold this gap. 1566. I've decided, and I put this out in the 4-pillar trade idea, I put it as a long term. A lot of these are day trades, swing trades. I put swing to long term. I think that was a blowout quarter, and there were a lot of questions about the GLP-1 shortages, and I think management answered them sufficiently. There's a lot of skeptics out there, but I'm going with what management says. They haven't disappointed. It's been beat and raised every quarter for the last couple of years that I've been following them. So I'm going to trust their word on this rather than the analysts who are being skeptical on this. I think it's really, really cheap. You're trading at an EV/EBITDA of like 20 on this thing right now, while they're growing EPS at like 80 to 100% year over year. To me, this thing's ridiculously cheap. And I think the concern about GLP-1 shortages is a sentiment issue for sure. So I guess it deserves to be here until that sentiment's reversed. So we may have to wait for a catalyst that reverses that sentiment. Maybe we got to wait another quarter. Maybe there's some analyst that comes out and says, you know what? No, the company's right about the GLP-1 shortage issue being taken off the shortage list. I'm trusting the company on this. We're above the gap, and I'm holding this for the long term. So we had a rare miss yesterday on Hims, which I'm holding. Other one I'm going to mention, and then we'll turn it over to the Godfather for a couple of his picks, is Zevra. So we initiated Zevra Friday after hours. It initially worked pretty well. I think it was $8 I initially got in, $8.28. I think the alert came at $8.28, gave you a 10 to 12 price target. It hit 10 in the after hours, at least in the overnight market Sunday night, but it's pulled back here. I am not letting price action lead. Like you said, we're story traders. I'm letting the catalyst lead, and I'm not going to get shaken out by this thing breaking the low of Friday's low of the day, or Monday's low of the day, which was $7.35. I'm not going to let that shake me out. They got PDUFA, a date assigned for late September. The FDA advisory board approved their drug 97% of the time. At this point, they're going to get the FDA approval. And on top of the value that this drug approval comes, they're going to get a $100 million voucher. The market cap of this thing is there's $298 million. I'm going to hold this. I may keep on increasing my position if it dips. And I think we're going to see a huge explosion as we approach the PDUFA date in late September. I have I believe a $10 to $16 price target on this thing. So far, Zevra and Hims, a little bit of a miss in the last couple of days. We're going to have some misses where you just got to sometimes hold it a little bit longer, and sometimes we cut our losses. But I don't see a reason to cut our losses on Zevra and Hims because I don't see a catalyst that's changed the story. All right. With that, if you want to chime in on anything I just said, The Godfather, you may, or you can just go with some of your own chart.
Yeah, look, I want to highlight one thing we put into the community on the 9th of July. We basically said, look, the market sees summer swoons. We haven't had a drawdown for a long time. August to October period is often choppy. So let's look at the last 5 years and see what's happened. Like I said, we came out with this on July 9. The market topped on July 11. But let's look at it quickly. Over that period, the summer drawdown period, we typically see a 9%. This is the average of the last 5 years. A 9% drawdown in the SPX, and that lasts for about 42 days, and an 11% drawdown. Sorry, an average of 12.7% drawdown that lasts 42 days on the Qs. Well, we're down 11.2% now from the July 11 highs. We've already gone 27 days. I still think there's some more room to go to the downside. History will suggest that there is. This is a good time to keep position sizes smaller. let's look at the facts. What do we actually know? Well, we know we broke down the 50-day moving average on the NDX, the NASDAQ 100, the big cap tech names. We know we tested the 200-day moving average, bounced from there. We know that the market typically likes to see confirmations. So, would not surprise me to see we go back to that sort of retest level, which I believe is 17,674 on the 200-day. If we get that kind of confirmation, we get a nice W bottom, or we get a retest, then I think you have the opportunity to increase the position sizes, etc. What are the other facts that we know? We know that big cap tech has been overvalued. We know that the large cap tech name has been down around 13% in the last 2 weeks. Far more than the market, but multiples have gone from 32 times to 27 times. So 10-year median is around 24. That also suggests some further downsize. So, one thing that I don't think Ben really touched on is that we essentially said through this earnings season, try to stay away from playing the big cap tech names, and we avoided a lot of pitfalls there. There were a lot of tape bombs. Very hard to call when the setup isn't good, either technically or stretch valuation wise. The bar is very high, and that proved out time and time again. So I think that's also been a very good guidance win for our community. So with that kind of backdrop, my specialty is focusing on where I see a fundamental disconnect. And if we got an upcoming catalyst at the same time, great. One of the names that I'm focused on that reports today after close is Robinhood.
Yes.
I'm
glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because, by the way, I steal some of your ideas, and this is one I stole. I stole Core's. I have a 4-pillar pick idea open on it, and Hood is another one. So I'll go ahead with your thesis. I fully endorse this thesis. Go ahead.
It's been trading. It's had 3 times the top line growth rate of Coinbase, while trading at a 25% discount on PE, next year's PE.
This was a top pick this morning, by the way.
And if you look at it on an EV/EBITDA basis, which is what I like to do, it's currently trading at just 10 times next year's EV/EBITDA. And you're talking about adjusted EBITDA margins of 40% here. And you're also talking about, most recent quarter that saw those adjusted EBITDA levels rise 115% year over year. ARPU went up 35%. And so pretty much every category, from assets under custody to number of funded customers to account sizes, net deposits, option contract volumes, crypto contract volumes, they bought Bitstamp. So, that'll start to come into the picture. Cash sweep, stock lending, virtually every part of their business is firing on all cylinders. So look, this thing traded up just 2 weeks ago to an all-time high of just over $24. We've come dramatically down, sitting at 17 and change here. I suspect even a good quarter would be greeted by, or even a reasonable quarter, and I think it's going to be a good quarter, will be greeted by a good market response, assuming, of course, that backdrop tape doesn't fall apart today and or tomorrow, which you never know. 2 other small caps that report. Actually, they both report on Thursday. One is Red Cat. You can read all about it. It's been in our community for a long time. I've also posted a lot on it on X. This is a small drone maker. It's a $3 plus valuation support.
I'm in that trade. I followed you on that.
Yeah. So look, the big catalyst here comes the 3rd week of September, when they hear on their military contracts, and they sold their consumer business. They're focused mostly on industrial, and there's been a lot of uptake in that business. Everyone from border control to the FBI to local police jurisdictions have been picking up their technology. AI has just massively increased the utility of these small drones. So it becomes a must need, not unlike the body cams that now, featured so prominently for Axon on all these local police forces. So this, I think, is one to watch because it's got valuation defense through $3 or revaluation defense through $3, in my opinion, irrespective of any military contract win. And it could be, $10 plus stock, in my opinion, should they win even a portion of what's out there for tender. The other thing that nobody seems to be paying attention to is Census Healthcare.
30 seconds because we're short on time.
Okay, SRTS. Yeah, they report also on the 8th. And this is a medical device company with essentially software type metrics. And it's trading on 10 times earnings, despite 30% adjusted EBITDA margins, and in the most recent quarter that saw revenue up over 300%. So this thing is trading around 640. I think it deserves to be $10 plus.
Okay, very good. I'm just seeing some comments here. Sorry, new to this Benzinga show here. Can I show comments? Oh no, I can't do it. But I'm looking at the YouTube comments, and I saw a couple people being like, "Why wouldn't you sell Axon?" or "Come on, how could he get in at 305?" Well, we give our ideas. First of all, we gave it last night and this morning. So last night we already told you it's going to be the number one pick of the day when it was in the after hours around 308. Then this morning we doubled down, number one pick of the day. So it was around 313. So our opening price on our sheet is 313, not 305. All right. And why the people are complaining about the valuation? Why would he continue to hold this? Rhett, let me just have you speak to this real quick. But before you do that, with our process, we believe markets are efficient. So I'm not out there judging, is the valuation too high or too low? I am trusting the market that whatever valuation they're ascribing to it, maybe there's something hidden you don't understand. Maybe it's some sentiment. Whatever it is, yesterday's price was the correct price. So all you have to do is assess the delta of information. Is that delta of information a net positive or a net negative? And if you interpret that correctly, then you don't worry about the valuation. You say, this is a net positive for the stock. It's going to have a tailwind behind it all day. Then you turn to the technicals to decide when to get out. Look, I said get out at 330 at our target. That was a fundamental kind of re-rating. But Rhett, give me your review on this real quick.
I mean, I would have maybe been skeptical when it broke right there. I think it's around like the 348 right there when it broke above that EMA. And but I mean,
a 1 minute.
Huh?
That's a 1 minute line, by the way.
Oh, then never mind. So yeah, sorry, I don't know what EMAs you have going. So
if you had the 3 minute or something, it would have been above it the whole day.
I mean, I would have at this point I'd start trimming because I mean the profits are amazing. So, but I mean there was no really clear indicator on to get out for this trade yet. You still would be riding. I mean,
yeah, and I think it makes sense to we don't advise people on how to do risk management. So whatever process you have, sell on the way up. Everyone has to have their own process that they like. We're just giving you that edge of what stock is more likely to outperform for the day. So just wanted to. Oh, we're running at the end of the show. I think we're till 11:30 or we're to 12. I don't know. Let us know, Zunaid. But I thought it was 11:30. Rhett, how can people join the community?
So they can just go to womp.com/story trading and they have
story. No. They got to give them the BZ link. So it's storytrading.com/BZ show.
Yep.
Yeah. So don't go to any other link. You're part of the Benzinga community. Go to storytrading.com/BZ show. Do we have a code for them?
Yep. It's going to be just BZ show, all cap.
BZ show, all cap, and you get a nice discount to join our community.
Oh, yes.
Awesome.
Appreciate the insights, fellas. Looking forward to Robinhood reporting earnings. I may or may not have a little too many call options that expire in January, thankfully. $20 strike. So we'll see if Robinhood.
Yeah, we're in that top pick today. See what happens.
I think you'll be fine for January.
Oh, yeah.
I really hope so because I started crying when we broke $16 on Hood the other day, but it's all good. But I appreciate all of you guys for hanging on. What's up, Ben?
Real quick on Hood. Yeah. I got the alert from S Mantle. I already had Hood. I liked it, but Godfather here yesterday gave an alert. I liked the alert. So I got in yesterday. What I like to do is do these like earnings anticipation runs and then take some profits right before the close. So hopefully, I think I'm in the green, but that's my plan is to take a little bit of profits at least right before the close because you never know. Nothing's a guarantee with these earnings reports.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. All right. Appreciate you guys. See you next week.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care, everyone. Yep.
All right, chat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed our new show and our new guest on our stream. Now, we'd like to go ahead and also talk fundamentals, and that's exactly what we're going to do here with All Access. I got a chance, due to scheduling conflicts, we had to kind of schedule this or record this a little bit earlier. We're going to talk to Genius Group about what's happening with their company. A ticker, as you can see, is GNS, and here is the recorded conversation. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Here we go. Welcome, Benzinga Nation. We love to talk to executives from publicly traded companies so we can get insights on what's happening in their sector and especially their company as well. Today, we've got a great conversation lined up with Roger Hamilton, who is a CEO of Genius Group. Ticker on the NYSE American is GNS. All Access starts right now. Good morning, Roger. Welcome to All Access.
Very good to be here.
Awesome. Look, we've got so many things to talk about. AI is always fun when it's part of the conversation. But for the folks at home that might not be familiar with your company, give us a quick overview.
Sure. Our company's called Genius Group, and we basically look at Genius being a combination of the skills in terms of AI as well as the talent in terms of human talent and integrating them together. So when people come onto our platform, we have an online platform with coming up to 6 million students on it, with 10 million for this year being our goal. And the whole idea is when you come on, you're actually getting your AI avatars already supporting you in your learning. And we're actually scaling this out across 100 what we call Genius cities, which is everything from governments through to businesses, through to students at universities.
Well, I've heard of Genius at Apple, and now you've got something working in that same respect as well. How does AI kind of enable you to provide better education solutions in our sector?
Well, the most important thing is knowing that in the same way that 100 plus years ago, we went from 1 horsepower when everyone was riding horses to 100 and 1,000 horsepower when people have cars. We're seeing exactly the same thing happening right now within the entire age of AI. Learning is one of the easiest things to be using AI for, because everyone knows if you have a personalized experience and one that then is guiding you at the pace that's right for you, that makes all the difference. So every single person that comes on the platform gets their own personalized AI. And it's not just those that are learning formal education, it's also those who are looking to reskill themselves through the workplace. So we have many companies using this with all of their team members. And when you've actually got AI providing you with the very latest solutions that actually are working with you, not just in terms of what you need to learn, but what you can actually be providing to AI experts or even to AI itself to deliver for you, then you can find yourself at 100x the results very quickly. And that's what we're basically delivering to all of the users that are using our platform right now.
Okay, so I understand like the end result with 100x that you're talking about, but let's get a little nerdy. Explain to me how the tech actually works, and especially if it's your own model or if it's layered on top of something like, say, a ChatGPT.
Great. Okay, so if someone's a university student, for example, they can go straight to our site, which is called student.ai, and they will see that they have an entire team of AI tutors that will help them in every area of their studies, whether it's research or whether it is, crafting out their thesis, or whether it is actually solving complex mathematical problems. And each AI is an agent that actually focuses on a particular area, and they're being coded to do that. If they're an entrepreneur, they can go to geniusteam.ai, which actually provides you with the C-suite, which includes CFO, CEO. In fact, our own chief AI officer that we brought into the company is an AI itself called Alan Turing, and it's actually being coded to be able to have the entire body of work of Alan Turing. And it comes with a great sense of humor as well, but it actually has provided us with a full white paper on how we develop AI out there as well. So very specific to different characters. We have Einstein AI, which is crafted around Einstein, and so goes on for basically all the top leaders that we have on our platform as well. To the question of what is the base that we began with, we actually started by using OpenAI and having as a base GPT-3. We now have a partnership with Microsoft, where Microsoft actually provides us with free credits, and we're now using basically the basis of Bing, which is giving us access to real-time information, as well as Copilot. And of course, there's a basis to all of that in terms of how it links in with OpenAI as well. So we will continue to evolve and grow the platform based on the very latest technology out there. And so, for example, if someone comes and actually wants to be creating their presentations and including on it graphics, right? Then we already link in with DALL-E 3, for example, or Midjourney. And you can have your choice as to which one you use. But most importantly, we keep your data safe because everyone who comes on board is actually capturing their data within our AI platform.
I'm glad you brought up data because so much concern around AI now is with the safety and privacy aspect of it. So how do you ensure that the American people that are using this product have everything taken care of and provided in terms of security?
So one thing which we did very early on as the AI movement started was we created a partnership with Salesforce. And Salesforce, which is a CRM, has built their own Einstein AI as well. And they've made sure that from day one, all the content, all the data that you are actually managing on their platform is fully compliant. We've worked together with Salesforce to make sure that when you have got a particular user that's using our AI system, it's very different from going, for example, onto something like OpenAI's ChatGPT, where pretty much everything that you're entering in there is open season for anyone to be able to, is the same as the whole internet. You can actually be, putting anything onto your website, and it's open season for any AI to actually be able to take all that information. In our case, we've got basically private pockets of data that you capture and keep for yourself. And because we're working with teams of AI, to give you an example, in conversations with GEMS, which is what the largest private education network in the world, they had a concern, given that they're based in Dubai. How do we make sure that students, kids at primary school are going to have the safety of having information on the internet, but also having local culture when it comes, for example, to the UAE. And so what we have is we have different teams of AI that are specialized in very specific areas. And when you actually plug those AIs into the team, you'll have the one that's focusing at culture of your local area, or at the kind of parental supervisions or controls for a 13-year-old child that you can plug into it as well. And then you can exchange it for another one. So as your child gets older, they can actually then exchange with an AI that's going to be at a different level of what it's checking and how it's tracking. And so because we actually are building these armies of AI working together, that makes it quite simple and easy to plug and play into the tools that you actually want that's going to personalize the best, not just for the individual, but to the culture and to the country that you're serving.
I appreciate you breaking that down. You mentioned Dubai, and I also saw that you have contracts with Kazakhstan. It's a place where I've worked with a few years ago to help with their education system. So what does it look like when you're working with governments to kind of craft education programs using your tech, especially when their cultures might be a bit different than what we have here in the United States?
Yeah, this is actually very interesting that you're actually seeing a lot of the countries that are the first to be appointing ministers of AI, right? Like, UAE is one of them. Kazakhstan's another one. We're based in Singapore. Singapore is another one where you've actually got, AI being very much embraced by the government, and then looking at how do they actually create their own sovereign AI or localized AI that isn't data that's then being sent over to America or to some Western country. And for us, this is one of the most interesting pathways is working together with the government. So you mentioned Kazakhstan, for example. There's been a couple of deals that have come out there recently. Council of Europe, which is linked with the EU, had a competition to see how could you actually be using AI to gather all the local data in a particular country and enable you to be able to track where all the assets are moving. And this is a $3 trillion problem around the world in terms of illegal movement of assets. Kazakhstan said, okay, we want to actually have a tool that enables us to do that. We beat out all of the other AI companies at actually developing a solution, and we're now putting that in place. That's also connected to another project that we're working with the government on in Kazakhstan, which is a $22 million contract that enables us to gather not just databases in terms of where assets are moving, but database on all data that enables us to create a sovereign AI where it's learning based, which means that every citizen can learn how to be using AI and the tools, but they can also access their own data. So whether it's their medical data, whether it's their education data, and they want to be having a really smart way to be able to not just gather it, but actually provide it to the doctor or to your next teacher. We actually have that as a contract that we've been delivering already. We're in the second year of a 3-year contract, which is nationwide. We're seeing more and more of that happening around the world. And that's where our Genius Nation and Genius City model comes in as well. In a place like US, very difficult to work with the federal government at pace, but there's certainly a lot of cities with mayors like Miami, like Austin, Texas, that are very proactive and actually bringing these same tools into their cities and their own local ecosystems.
You know, it's always great whenever, so typically when I talk to executives, my question's always, hey, when are you going to expand globally? But clearly you've already done that with Kazakhstan and Dubai contracts and many more that I'm sure might be in the works as well. Last question for me, you know, technology used to change every 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. Now technology is changing every few months, it seems, with especially AI space. Where do you kind of see AI as a technology, say, in the next 3 years?
I think one of the biggest challenges is everyone can see how fast AI itself is growing. The real key thing is what is our relationship to it going forward. I personally believe, because we're all about education and the future of work, that the biggest thing that's going to happen as AI continues to get into a more and more powerful tool is that it's going to be how we redefine work. Right now, most of us think of work as being our paid productivity. Well, then you could be having the fear of God in you if you think that AI is going to actually take over because they're more productive than you are. But we actually see work as being partly paid productivity, but also partly your personal work, you know, how you're growing, or your community work, how you're giving. And what we're seeing with a lot of these different communities is that as AI evolves, it's those cities or countries that say, this is an opportunity for us to actually have AI take on a lot more of the productivity, and for us then to have humans learning much more about, well, that frees up more of my time to make sure that I'm actually doing what I'm passionate about, or what I'm actually, you know, seeing as being a purpose for my life going forward. And that's a very good thing, because it means that we're using AI not to replace humans, we're using it to enhance humans. And I think that's probably the biggest shift. Not everyone's going to make it. Others are going to miss that boat, and they're going to end up losing their jobs, or basically having major societal issues. We can see that globally as a big fear that people have. The whole idea of genius is, it's not, you know, a genius city is not a smart city, which is smart technology. It's a genius city, which is smart humans as well as smart technology. So how do we actually educate all of us for this bigger disruption that's coming our way?
You know, I feel like sometimes in school, they don't teach you how to learn. You have to learn how to learn. And I feel like that's what kind of AI can help you do.
That's
yeah,
100% agree.
Yeah. And, you know, there are going to be certain jobs that will be replaced with AI. We've already, unfortunately, seen that. However, I feel like net positive will be where AI helps us do our jobs better and more effectively and save time as well. I know I use it in my daily life, whether it's in terms of trading or doing interviews like this, and my day-to-day responsibilities here at Benzinga as well. Roger, before I let you go, any final thoughts from you? We've talked about quite a bit already, but the floor is yours to talk to our viewers.
Yeah, I would just say that for those interested in Genius Group, our ticker is GNS. And the one thing to look out for as we go forward is our Genius Awards, which we are awarding at both the country level as well as the city, the company, and in the individual leadership level. And the whole idea of Genius Awards are who are the people who are getting smartest at using AI to enhance humanity, right? And there are certain people that are using it in ways that you could say are negative, that are replacing or which are basically not necessarily of added value to humanity. And there's those who are doing a really great job. We want to recognize those same people in the way we're doing the Genius Awards. And we are going to be running this year also the AI Challenge, which is a global challenge. It's involving over 100 cities. We have thousands of companies that are part of it as well, which is going to be bringing all these use cases of how you actually use AI to 100x the returns that you're actually getting in both income and impact within your business. So I hope that people will follow along on the journey, and they can find out more about us on geniusgroup.net, where we share all the latest information about the movement within the growth of the age of AI.
Awesome. Well, hey, we'll be following along. I look forward to more milestones being achieved by your company and for us to have those conversations in the future. Roger, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks so much.
You got it. That was Roger Hamilton, who is a CEO of Genius Group. Ticker on the NYSE American is GNS. And as always, thank you at home for watching All Access. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed that interview. Seems like there's a lot of public interest in what's happening in that part of the world as well. So I know you guys, I saw some fans in the chat. Where was one of them? I think it was, there you go. Oh, there you go. There you go. I'm a producer. I don't need to do everything. All right. So here's what we're going to rock with now. We're going to move on to Futures Fever. If you have ever traded, futures, if you wanted to learn how to trade futures, this is a show where we kind of go over some charts, and we also look at some stocks as well. And so we'll rock with that. Let me go ahead and log into my portal here real quick. But if you guys want, in the meantime, please go ahead and drop your tickers in the chat. They could be future tickers, it could be stocks, it could be whatever you want. I will go ahead and take a look at it. We'll do some TA on them for about 30 minutes or so, and then we'll rock and roll. Let me go ahead and do this, and then a little bit of this, and then I can connect, and then we're good. All right, so for those of you that might be unfamiliar with what is it that futures fever is, let me share my charts here. There we go. Wrong banner. Thank you, sir. There we go. All right, so this is what Apex is. Apex Trader Funding is an eval company where you get a chance to trade futures and get an eval. I personally used a $50,000 eval, which is for about $50 with the 80% off sale that they have. Make sure you use the promo code FEVER, F-E-V-E-R. It helps us out here at the show. Then after you pass the eval for the $50,000 one, you get a drawdown of $2,500 and a profit target of $3,000. Once you get the profit target of $3,000 in your eval account, then you go ahead and you can get what's called a funded account, where again, it's a $50,000 funded account, but that's not the number you got to pay attention to. You got to pay attention to the drawdown of $2,500. So you pay $50, say, for the eval, then you pay about $100 a month for the funded account. So it's a total of about $150 or so, which gets you a drawdown of $2,500. So seems like a pretty good deal to me. I personally use them. This show is sponsored by them, but I use them with my own money. I pay my own money for the evals, my own money for the funded accounts, and I do my own trading. So I want to make that very, very crystal clear. So check them out. You can go to apextraderfunding.com. Make sure you use promo code FEVER to help us out here at Benzinga and help this show out. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what I see on the NQ. You obviously had a nice little pop-up. Why did I end up drawing this line? Looks like it was because of that. Let's go ahead and get rid of that as we're coming right back down. I was hoping for us to not break this 18,433 level, but it looks like we did for a little bit, but now we're coming right back down. Ideally, I'd like to go short if I can on this break of the 18,382. But for now, I think I'm going to hold on a little bit. Let's see if we've got some... Let me see here. Oops, I got to mute my notifications because you guys can hear it. Go to Slack. All right, cool. That's what's going on there. Let's take a look at the ES. Oh, that's not the right ES. Oh, okay, see, now this gets interesting. We might be at this 5307 level. Let me go ahead and open up my boy. Oh, that's too many. Hold on, let me adjust this a little bit. See if we can get a bounce from this level. I might have to lower it a little bit because I don't want to. I'm going to risk. There we go. Go from maybe there. There we go. What do you guys think about this trade here? So the reason that I'm thinking about taking this one is because if you look left, you had resistance, you popped up. Now you've got a little bit of support held, but it broke. So this area was of interest to me. But then with it being invalidated twice, I'm actually a little curious to see if that's going to continue being a support area, or since we've already kind of invalidated it, it doesn't really matter as much. Let me see what other tickers you guys want me to take a look at. Lumen. Lumen, I think you've got $6 here as support. If it breaks 6, I would go ahead and get out. I would personally go ahead and get out. I think $5, you can go ahead and take a chance with the stop loss at about 438. So you're risking about 70 cents. So if you don't want to get it at 6, and if you think it'll go to 5, I think 5 is a better buy. You've got the previous close and also the previous resistance, which it has not come back and tested. So I would say these two areas is where I would be. 5 is what I would prefer. You might miss a trade at 6. So say if you're going to get 100 trades, or if you're going to get 100 shares, maybe you buy 25 or 50 shares at, say, $6, and then you buy the other 75 to 50 shares at $5. Stop loss for me, again, would be approximately 438 on that one. What time frame am I looking at? This is a 30-minute time frame. My apologies. 30-minute time frame. Let me also put on a little bit of tunes. Ooh, daydreaming. Daydreaming is a good one. Let's try it out. Okay. All right. What are the tickers you guys want me to take a look at? Let's take a look at NVIDIA here. Nothing happening there that I personally like. It does come back below the 106. Let's take a look at Apple if it's going to. Ooh, Apple, in my opinion, trying to face some resistance. Let's go to the daily and see why I've got that. So you're looking at possibly, let's see, I think it's a gap trade. Yep, you've got the gap that might try to get filled right around. You got that right there. So you're looking at possibly enter the gap zone. If you do, then you've got a gap to fill right around, say, 217 or so. But at the moment, it's rejecting that area. You can see it perfectly reject to the penny. You can see it reject. But if we enter this zone, I think you might need to risk about $2 to $3, but you might be able to fill the gap at about 217 or so. But again, in this environment, do you really want to swing trade something? To me, personally, no. But it's your hard-earned money. So do what you think is best there. Take a look at CrowdStrike. And then we'll get back to our futures trade, see what that's looking like. CrowdStrike, what a bounce it's had from 192s, but then also what a fall it had from about the 250s and then some. Actually, I think it was a 275 before it fell all the way down. Yeah, there's nothing for me to trade here. I think the short idea was that we already kind of drew this line at 245. Since it already rejected that, that trade's already kind of worked out. Obviously, I didn't get into it, so we're good. What happened to the stock market? We were up 20 minutes ago. Well, you know, I decided to sell my shares. That's how much money I have. We're still up. I mean, we're still up 1%, y'all. You know? Apple, I think, had an inside day yesterday, no? Yep, it sure did. And look at that. Still hitting the same resistance area that we just talked about. So we'll see if it breaks into it. If it does, you've got a gap fill there. Let's take a look at our trade on the ES, if that's going to possibly fill here. Oh, it's not. It bounced. We missed our entry by 5 points on the ES. Since it's already kind of bounced, yes, it can come back and go ahead and fill me, but I don't want to be a part of that. I wanted to get in on the first try, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel that trade out. Not something I'm going to go ahead and take a look. Let's jam over to the end. NQ's got about 6 minutes left in this 15-minute candle to close. Possibly going to have a hammer candle here on the 15. Oops, I forgot I have a... Okay, sent that out. We're good. You are absolutely welcome. And let's see. Okay, cool. All right, we'll see what ES does here. Let me go to oil. I haven't really checked oil in a minute. All right, oil might be coming up to my level of 76 that I've had there for quite some time. Now, see, here's the thing. And you guys tell me what you think and what your philosophy is. The reason that I have this drawn on the 76, and it looks like I got to go way back to kind of identify the reason for it, is you had kind of like this support area here that's been playing out, right? Support, support, then we finally broke and we hit resistance and it came down. But as of late, you had support, support, broke resistance, resistance, popped up, held the support, broke it, hasn't quite retested it. So now I'm curious if this 76 is still going to be a level to respect or not. Maybe I can go ahead and trade. This is literally how I think when I take a trade. Always hesitate a little bit in life. I think I'm going to pass on it, but it is something I want to keep in mind to see what would have happened if I did take the trade. By the way, Disney, boy, oh boy. Are we really going to come back and test this $79 level, which was the COVID lows on Disney? We're about 12 bucks away. Excuse me, we're about $9 away. I know Dennis and them talked about it on their pre-market show. Let's go back to the NQ here a little bit. If you guys have any questions for me in the chat, feel free. Let me know. See, this is too much. I can't risk all that there. Yeah, it's like 50 points. I don't want to do that. If only we got filled. We had a nice little move there. How many points was that from where we wanted it? I think we wanted around 10. Nice. 15 points above. Take a look at AMD. Yeah, we're just kind of in patient mode. There's not much that I personally see that I can take a trade on without just forcing something, you know. You're getting ready to short the NQ? Okay, let's take a look. You say you're getting ready. So what do you need to happen here? This candle closes in 15 minutes. You don't trust this move? You don't trust this bounce back? Walter? Let me know what you're thinking, Walter. We are headed to take out 18,341 at least. Okay, so you think we're going to break this? You think we break this? Because see, to me, there's two ways to go about it. One, we get the pop here, which we did get. You get the retest, and then we come back and knock on the doors of 435. Right? That's one scenario. And the other scenario is we go ahead and test this bottom. Watch the cues, Quantum. Okay. We're coming down a bit. You got in? Okay, Walter, so you're short. What's your short entry here? Because I'm now thinking about joining you. If this comes up a little bit, I'm thinking about joining here. Let me go ahead and get at least one contract. Let me get at least one contract. Let me get at least one contract, Walter. All right, Walter. Let me make my screen a little bigger for the folks at home. All right, well, if this trade hits, we're still a few points away. But if this trade hits, it was brought to you by Walter in the chat. I'm not going to change anything. I'm not going to change the limits or anything like that. Do we get it? Do we snag it? Oh, look at how close we were. There we go. There we go. All right, Walter. Everybody clap it up for Walter in the chat. What a beautiful call. I'm curious. I mean, I think you kind of explained it, but I'm curious why you weren't confident that it would hit up there, especially with it's not the perfect hammer candle here on the 15, but there you go. You asked for the 341 to be broken, and my friend, my good sir, you got the 341 broken to the downside and then some, brother. This continues to go down. Well done. See, for me, the next area that I would even think about going long, here, let me go to the 4 hour. I'm not sure there is one. Maybe 1800s, but to me, I'd love to go short if we break the 1800s, and I hope it happens during market open sessions and not later on. Oof, NVIDIA. Are you going to break the 100, my friend? I would love to have Walter on the show. Walter, please email me. If you would like to come on, please email me. We can absolutely set something up, no question. Walter, we can figure it out. We can have just your audio if you want. Shoot me an email for real. We can get you on the show. I'm sure Ryan would love to have you on sometime as well. Roger already spoke. We had Roger's interview from Genius Group at 11:30, which is approximately like, what is that? 36 minutes ago. What do I think about Google? Let's go and check Google out. You've got, there's not much that I like on Google, if I'm being honest. Yeah, the only thing I would really feel confident in is a break of 150, and I know we're $10 there. Yeah, unfortunately, the only play that I have is to the downside, and we'd have to break the 150s to do that, and we're $10 away. So outside of that, I don't really have anything for you. If you're really, forced me to give you an idea, not a trade, because I can't tell you what to do and put your money in, 163 to 150s would be kind of level. So if you want to go long, I think maybe if you wait for 163 to break with some volume, that could be good. But outside of that, there's not much else there for me. Apple buyers stepping up. APU. They're stepping up. But again, so before I go, I'm going to talk about this trade again. This is a gap fill that needs to happen. Not going to say needs to happen, but that can happen, right? So if we go back here to the daily, you had the drop on Monday. You have resistance as we look to enter the gap. If we enter this gap of 213.50s and we start making our way to the upside, you're looking at about 217, 218 or so. Now, keep in mind, though, I don't have the courage to hold for a swing because you never know what news you're going to get with things happening in the Middle East. So, I'm a little wary of that. But that's kind of going to do it for us here. If you guys have any questions or tickers you want us to look at, let us know. But otherwise, we appreciate you for joining Futures Fever, and we will see you all next week. Don't forget, we'll be back tomorrow with pre-market prep at 8 o'clock. And, one thing I will say, and let me kind of put this up now, is if you are looking to get your trading skill set to be put to the test for your chance to win some money, highly, highly recommend you check out the Trade Zero competition. I will be participating in that, although if I win, I won't be taking the money because that's kind of messed up. But yeah, make sure you guys check out the trading competition that we're doing with Trade Zero. Make sure you check out Apex if you want to apply your skill set in the futures trading world, or you're trying to learn how to trade futures. I think it's a great way to kind of have some skin in the game and be able to learn how to trade and deal with your emotions as well.